We're live. Here we go. All right. Welcome, everybody. Adam Levine from BringTheNeat.com. Good morning to you all. I'm plugging in the headphones. We get ready to rock and roll here. All right. Welcome to Bring the Neat. It's Friday morning, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, and I'm just so stoked for what's going on today. We have an amazing panel over here with experts in all their fields. I can't talk well enough about each one of them, so I'm going to let them talk about how great they are when we get going over here. I just want to thank you all. It takes a lot of preparation to put on an event like this, and we had some really good success with our first event, Bring the Neat #1, back in December when we talked just about holiday organizing. And with the feedback we got, people said, why don't you do something for the spring? Talk about spring organizing. It's the rebirth, it's regeneration, it's reinventing yourself, your house, your spirit, your body, maybe even. So we put this together, and we're thrilled. The reason why I actually do this is I got involved in the organizing world not too long ago, just about 2 years ago. I've always been a very organized person, kind of neat. Some people might even call me a little bit anal, but it works for me. And I feel happy when I'm organized because I feel like I'm more productive. I feel like I have a better control of my own situations, and I just feel generally more happy. So a couple of years ago, I had a whole life change where the business I was in, there was times of recession and it wasn't going good. So I took a chance and I came up with a product that worked in our house for gift wrap storage organizing. And there was nothing that I had ever found before that worked with the big piles of stuff that we had laying around our house. I put something together, and a lot of people said it was kind of cool, so I took a chance and we turned it into a company. And now, thank God, we're being sold all around the country. We've even sold in a couple of other countries, and we've been on QVC. We had some really good success over there, and getting involved in organizing my life and starting a company based on organizing led me to an incredible amount of amazing people, which a lot of them are here today. So that's a little bit about me and how I got started in the organizing world, and I'm just so happy to put this all together because it's like everything I do now is all organizing. I even organize my own organization, which is crazy. So I'll introduce everybody as we go along in a little while, but first I would like to introduce my friend John Paduchak, who works with an amazing guy named Ted Wasco, and these are the guys that really kind of taught me how to put a hangout on air, a live event, a production like this together. So good morning to John. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thanks, Adam. It's great to be here. Wow, I love being brought in a round of applause. That's pretty cool. So yeah, it is. It's great to be here. It's great to be part of this, Adam. And of course, we love Adam. He's been one of our star students. So it's just thrilling to be here to be able to help him out and produce this event for him. So I'm excited to be here. Excited to be here, ladies. Great to see you all this morning, up and going. And today we're using Webinar Jam for this, which is new for us. We want to be able to communicate better with our audience and be able to participate with a larger crowd, so that's exciting for us today. So we're off to a really, really good start.
Yeah.
And it's exciting, like I said, exciting to be here.
It's exciting to be here. So, it's springtime, and it's like, we had most of the people I know anyway that went through this winter. It was cold like everywhere. It was like cold in like Florida. It was cold in Texas. It was cold in New York, Northwest, everywhere. And so many people I know had a hard time. Like, people can handle their cold. They can handle some bad weather. But when it's like for it seemed like 3 years in a row, but it's like 3 months in a row, it kind of drags down on you towards the end. I remember I never really even would get upset when there was snow. I was happy when there was snow. At the end, I was like, really? Okay, enough, So I'm really excited about the spring. Personally, I have a ton of projects I want to get to, and I know that the people I work with, they're so ambitious and they're so exciting, and it just seems like in the past week, like the weather's changed by like 50 degrees, and leaves are starting to come out in the trees, some flowers already started to bloom, and people are coming up with ideas, and they're talking and they're communicating, and the interaction has just been amazing lately. So everybody keep up the good work, and I guess we might as well just roll right on into it. Our first speaker today is one of my favorite people in the whole world. I mean, everybody on the panel is one of my favorite people in the whole world. There's no doubt about that. But I'm going to start it off, and I'm so happy to have Ann McDonald starting off today because she is wonderful. She is warm. She's got an amazing website. She's an amazing person. And if you don't know her, get a chance to meet her and interact with her because she's a lovely, lovely lady. So, Ann, take it away.
Thank you, Adam. I like that. I like that. I'll take that term, lovely lady. So this, I just echoing what you just said, the whole concept of coming off this miserable winter. What we're going to talk about today is what I use every day in my design practice, Couture Chateau. We approach our projects with what we call a present-future mindset. And one of the biggest struggles that people have when they go into a space and they're trying to address it and they're trying to clear out all of their clutter is that they don't understand that all of that junk around them is essentially like building memorials to the past. And what I want you to do as you are approaching your spring cleaning is to use a present future mindset. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit, I'm going to get to my notes here, a little bit about what I call the tell. And anytime we go into a project, whether it is a design project, even if it's a business reorganization project, I walk into the space and I can tell you immediately if you are kind of living and trying to order your life as it was in the past, or if you're really ready to clear out the clutter and set up hope for your future. And it's this single thing, and I want every single one of our listeners today, every single one of our watchers to really to take stock of this. If you walk into your space and you look at the pictures that you have up, just take a really solid inventory. And just like when you're playing a game of cards or you're playing a game of poker, everybody has a tell whether they're twitching their eye or they're touching their mouth or doing something. The number of pictures that you have that are 5 years and older will tell me and my design staff whether or not you are really living in the present with an eye towards the future or whether you are living in the present with an eye towards the past. And it's really interesting because the whole concept of mindset, as we think, so shall we do. And we can talk a lot about, oh, we're really excited about the future. But if we don't actually take the steps to create space for the future to come in and fill that space, it's just theory. It's not really being lived out in our daily lives. So my first challenge to our listeners today, there are so many fantastic speakers. I'm really excited. I'm excited to hear what Julie has to say. I'm excited to hear what everybody has to say. But before you really dive into that, I want you to check your mindset. Is your house filled with pictures from, your marriage 20 years ago, or your grandparents, or your children 10 years ago, or your pets 5 years ago? I want you to clear some of that out, make some empty space, and really, really give yourself space for the future to come in. So that's number one. That's your tell. The second thing that I want you to do is I want you to get comfortable with empty space. A lot of times we go in to organize a space, and what we're really doing is we're just taking a bunch of clutter out, we set it out on a table, and then we just take that old clutter and we just reorganize it and we just put it back into the same space. And that doesn't leave room for anything new to come in. So I want you to think about creating that empty space or that void. And there are two things that I challenge you to do. I've actually got them written down. And I will, Adam, I'll make sure that we have a PDF with these little checklists for the audience today. The first thing is what we call out, and the second thing is what we call date. So when you take everything out, you're gonna lay it out, whether you're cleaning out a closet, whether you're cleaning out a business, whether you're cleaning out a home. Maybe it's just as simple as a child's bedroom that you want to get freshed up for the spring. You're going to take everything out. If you haven't used it in the past 6 months or the past year, then it really needs to go. And there are lots of tips and tricks. Everybody always talks about, touch everything once. So I don't need to give you that information. but I want to share with you what we do when we go in and we refresh clients' homes for the spring. We go in and we have to we put a date on it. So as everything comes out, if you can't identify a specific date in the future or a specific event in the future that thing or that pile of stuff is going to be used for, then I want you to consider getting rid of it and leaving that space empty. Does that resonate with you at all, Adam?
Well, it certainly resonates with me, and I'm sure it resonates with everybody else, because if you keep seeing me look down to my left, I'm taking notes, and as I'm writing them down, I'm like, gotta do that, yep, gotta do that. It's perfect.
It's really interesting because the whole concept of mindset, we talk a lot about mindset, whether it's in the business world or even in the design world, but until we take it into the practical and put feet on it, it doesn't help us in any way. And I see a lot of people get discouraged. We're supposed to have all this hope for the spring, but what happens is we just get burdened. It's just like this heaviness that comes upon us because we can't really execute. And being able to take simple steps like changing out a picture or putting a date on something that you're going to use helps us move forward. And one of the saddest things to me is when people just get heavy under that burden. And I don't want that for people. I want people to really have hope for the future, because I really do believe that the best is yet to come. If you're still breathing, there's something that you have to do. And in order for you to do that, your space there has to be elbow room for you to walk in and have something undone. So I really want you to get your head around that. So the whole concept of putting a date on it, do you understand that? I mean, does that resonate? Do I need to kind of expand on that a little bit? Because we have a whole series of steps.
I mean, I'm sure that people can, start to. In my head, I'm already thinking like different levels of doing that, of the dating, because we have one area in the playroom for the kids, and I had set up. We went to IKEA and we bought those beautiful frames that are just like a little square, and we saw it on the wall, and you put up 9 frames, and we did that. We got all the frames up on the wall in a perfect 9x9 grid pattern. Looks dynamite, except we never put the kids' pictures in there. So we have all these strangers that are in the IKEA pictures up in the playroom. And honest to God, it's been like that for about 2 years. I mean,
okay, I'm forcing you. I want you to put a date on it for this spring.
I am going to. It's going to be, I think, a date for Wednesday.
Yes. I mean, one of the examples that we use when clients don't understand it is if you're cleaning out your refrigerator, things have expiration dates. Well, your stuff in your life has an expiration date. And if you're not able to recycle at least a third of your stuff, either donate it, give it away, upcycle it, move it, transition it, kind of every 3 to 5 years, then you're being bogged down by junk in the past. And we have to make room for the future. So one of the things that we always say, put a date on it. You've heard the song, put a ring on it. Well, put a date on it.
If you'd like to put a little date on it. If you'd like to put a little date on it.
That's exactly right. So I'm going to give you an example from my own home. From my own home. We have a downstairs area where we throw a lot of parties and we do a lot of entertaining. And a lot of times we have leftover, whether it's paper goods or, party favors that we bought. And if we don't go in and check it about every 3 to 6 months, the stuff just amasses, and what could be a blessing to somebody else is just this nuisance to us, and it really holds us back. And so just yesterday, as I was kind of preparing for this talk, and I was really thinking about what key concepts I wanted to share with the audience, I thought I really have to do that for my own life, and I have to be specific about doing this. So we have 3 parties scheduled for the spring, the end part of the spring, and then on into the summer. And so I went through just very methodically and went through and thought, okay, this has to go. This is going to be used, May 30th. This is going to be used in August. And then this is going to be used in the first part of September. everything else has to go so that we can leave room for what the future has to bring for us.
Right. So now let me ask you a question. As you know, because it takes so much energy for people to actually like go through that process.
It does.
So first you have to think about thinking about it, right?
Yes,
and
you
decide to really think about it. And maybe
Yes.
you think about it one more time before you commit. So let's say you commit to doing something like that. You said you had a lot of stuff. You have these 3 parties. You're an
I do.
organized person. You're an interior designer. You're awesome. Your house is always clean, spotless, and everything. But there's that area of your trouble. How long did it actually take you to go through your things, organize it, and how did you feel after?
A transparency. So I thought about it for about 2 days. I actually sat and I planned. I went to my desk, and I don't know if you noticed or not, but I do a lot of hangouts from this space in my office. And I cleaned this space off behind me because I really felt convicted. I had some old client projects that were, we had old fabric samples that were up or projects that had been completed. So I cleaned this space off. I turned around and I faced here and I sat down with a calendar. And I made a very realistic schedule for myself. Yesterday, I did spend about 4 hours working on nothing but cleaning out all of those spaces. And I had a clipboard. No, I should have brought it with me, and so you could have it available. A clipboard for each event that we have planned. And if the item couldn't go on that clipboard, I knew that it had to go. So it was 4 hours. It was a mess when I did it. And it was a day of just sitting, focusing at this desk behind me, really being brutal with myself.
Right. And you sat there for a couple of hours. I mean,
I
in
did.
that one spot, and then you're moving around a little bit, but you stuck to your task.
I do. I get a nice cup of coffee in a pretty cup, and I usually like to give myself about 90 minutes. I find that your productivity really falls off if you're sitting or focusing for any more than 90 minutes.
Right.
But the truth is, we can say we have the mindset, but if we don't put it into practice, it means nothing.
Right. True that.
True that.
So there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just thinking about, because so many times people ask, just people when you do things that are organized anyway, they say, oh, I never get to it. I'm so busy. I'm this, I'm that, and it really takes the thinking about it and setting it down and setting your mind to do it. And 4 hours, it may take some people 8 hours. It may take people some 2 days. But what I really like that you said is that you planned it. You thought about it, and you set up a plan, and you went to do it. Because I know that I've struggled in the past, and I'm sure there are others out there. It's like you don't mean to start a giant organizing project.
Oh, no.
And then you start it, and then you're like that 90 minutes in where you start to feel the fatigue, and you look around, and you're in the middle of a tornado, and then you get all frustrated,
and then you quit.
And then you quit, and you end up having 2 messes: the original mess and the new one you just created.
Yes.
So.
And then you argue with the person next to you.
Yeah.
So I completely understand that. One of the reasons I like to talk about the whole concept of the tell, as I mentioned at first, is that if you can do this one thing, if you walk into your house and you can't do anything else, walk into your office, your house, look around your public spaces, and see if you can take down some of the pictures from the past and replace, even if you can replace 2 or 3 with pictures from the present. That single act gets you over the hump. Because so often we, in our personal spaces, we build these memorials or idols to the past. And our kids are 25 years old, and we've still got pictures of them when they're 2, and they're, the pictures are this big. Well,
right.
Take that picture down, because every time you're walking by that picture, what you're really saying kind of subliminally to yourself is that, well, those were the glory days. Well, that's a lie. Your glory days are ahead of you. And the glory days for your children are ahead of you, or your spouse, or your pets, whatever it is. And that single action is what takes what we talk about, the present and the future mindset, from this into your hands. And that can help you get past those major barriers.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, so much. I was thinking about just actually growing up in my own house, with my parents, and they had a few pictures of us then when we were kids, and actually it was our bar mitzvah pictures, me and my brothers, and that didn't change until we were like 28 years old, when we started getting married and having the kids and everything. And
Correct.
I missed it for a minute, but then I was like, yeah, it's about time. It's like update something. They're there for over 20 years, and when they took them down, they were able to make that whole hallway so much nicer because it wasn't on that 1984, wood frame. Did I just date myself? Am I that old? Oh my gosh.
No,
But,
trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. I mean, think about how Facebook does it. Even one day a week, Throwback Thursday. So
Right.
if you thought of 1/7 of your pictures or the things that you've kind of memorialized in your house to the past,
Right.
and the rest is available for today and the future.
Sure. All right. Well, I got homework to do. There's no doubt about it. And I am going to try to get at least the IKEA people out by
Yes,
Wednesday.
please do.
Get all the frames done. I'll have to post a picture. I'll take the IKEA people out, and then I'll have to pick out some nice pictures.
I'll hold
Actually,
you
you know what?
accountable.
I know Jennifer Ford-Berry will love this. I'm going to make a project. Actually, everybody I'm sure will love this, but I'm going to make a project with my kids, and I'm going to let them pick the pictures that we could put up. I'll print them, cut them, blah, 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 and I'll put up a picture just to prove that I did my homework so I could be graded.
There you
All right.
go.
So that's
There you
great.
go.
Okay, so listen, Ann, thank you. I mean, this is why I love you so much, because you speak so from the heart. You talk about truthful stuff. You talk about simple stuff. It may not be easy for people to do, but it is simple in theory. So great job. I appreciate it. And
Thank you.
oh, just wonderful to have
Thank
you.
you.
So for anybody that's interested in more what Ann has to say, you can find her at annmcdonald.net. She answers her emails. She
I
answers
do answer my
Facebook.
email.
Yep, she does that stuff. And of course, we have, which I didn't mention before, all the speakers over here. We all have our websites and everything. So what we did is we've put a list together of everybody that's on the event, and everybody has like a PDF free handout that you can have. And there's also going to be special offers that they have up on their website. And the list might not be complete as of right this minute, but it will be completed the next day. So click on and say hello to Ann and see what else she's got. All right.
Yes.
So Ann, I thank you so much.
Thank you, Adam.
Round of applause.
Thank you.
All right. So next we got up on the lineup over here. Also, one of my favorites, a New York girl, so I love her even that much more. Her name is Collette Shine, everybody, and she is coming on the screen right this second.
Can you hear me?
I certainly can.
Can you
Good
hear me?
morning.
Okay. You may have saw me go in and out and in and out. I apologize for that. My connectivity today is disastrous.
Not a problem. You're coming in live now, and that's what we
Great.
need.
And is my lower third in the? Can you see it?
Well, we can see it, but it
But
looks
it's
like
backwards.
it's written in an ancient text. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not a problem. But
I'm
it's,
going to turn it off. It's
yeah,
distracting.
not a problem. All right.
Not a problem. Just take it up with Google. Take it up with Google.
You know what? As soon as we're done, we'll start picketing.
Exactly.
So Collette, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it, and I'm really excited about your presentation in general because I happen to have about 15 sets of well, I shouldn't say I do, but my family has 15 sets of linens, and I'm really curious on how the heck I am going to get these things under control.
Yeah. So I love the way that Ann started off because it's very thought-provoking. But now I'm taking it down to really, really practical, talking about laundry. Everybody has it. Everybody does it. Some people like it. Some people hate it. And what I want to talk about today is kind of questioning what your routine is, talk about some products that you can use in your laundry room to make life a little easier, and then kind of touch a little bit on that kind of renewing for spring by kind of reducing what you have. So let's start off with the normal routine I think most people have. Now, obviously, I'm kind of broadly generalizing it as a family and what a family might do for their routine. People who live by themselves, people who live in New York City, it's a whole different world of laundry. Generally, laundry comes together. You collect it from the house. It comes together. You sort it. You sort it by whites. You sort it by darks. You do the wash. You do the dryer. You pull it back out. You fold it, then you sort it again. So as you're seeing here, there's kind of like this trend of you're redoing a couple of steps. And I want to question, could you do it a little differently? A lot of times in families, especially families with young children, maybe this will ring true for you. When you're folding laundry, you're like, whose shirt is this? Whose pants are this? And some people, you know, in the organizing world, obviously, you come up with these elaborate systems for identifying clothes. You can, you know, do labels in clothes. I've heard of the great Miss Dot system. I don't know if you've ever heard about it, where you put one dot in for the oldest child, 2 dots in for the second child, 3 dots for the third child, and if clothing gets passed down, you just kind of add dots, and then you can tell the clothing apart. So it's a great little trick, but what if you didn't have to do that? What if you kept everyone's clothes all together, and each person in the household had a laundry basket in their room where they could sort lights and darks? I have a great example. I'm hoping these pictures are going to show up well on screen and with the delay, so I'm going to hold it here for a minute. Can you see it at all?
Yeah, just hold it steady there, and I think the pixelation stops, so it's good to see 3 compartments there.
Yep.
Right?
Okay. So this is from Land of Nod. It's a great basket. It's big. You can separate lights, darks, kind of others, if you will. But the idea being, when you do the laundry, you do it by person. So you do a load, a light and a dark. Maybe they're slightly smaller loads, or maybe you can, you know, kind of take general family items like towels and things like that to kind of boost the load up a little bit. But the idea being that you're doing the laundry of one person. And when that stuff comes out of the dryer, you fold it, it goes back there. And you're not intermingling all of this clothing from all these different people and then having to separate it all back out again. It's just kind of a little more streamlined way. It's a little bit out of the box. I don't know, but that's kind of what I'm trying to bring today. Is there a way to kind of like do your routine a little differently?
Right.
And then also talk a little bit about the frequency of which you do laundry. So this is where the reducing can kind of come in handy. Are there tricks that you can do to maybe force you to do laundry a little more frequently? I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive, but maybe it's not so dreaded if it's not such an overwhelming task. So I have a funny story. My brother is a gym teacher. So he has T-shirts, sweatpants, I mean, you name it, it's oodles.
Right.
The guy could go for months without having to do laundry because he has so many clothes. But eventually, he runs out of clothes, and then, oh my Lord, what a job it is. It's mounds and mounds. It would take him an entire weekend to do all his laundry.
Right.
So I kind of feel like the trick is, if you don't have so much, it forces you to do it more frequently. So, for instance, like my husband has white T-shirts that he wears under his dress shirts. He only has so many of them. He can't get through 2 full weeks of work without having to do laundry because he runs out of those T-shirts.
Right.
So, again, it's like a trick. To go to talking about the linens that you were talking, how many linens do you really think you need for each bed? Out of curiosity.
How many do I think, or the other people in my house think?
Exactly.
I mean, personally, I would think that you need 2, maybe 3.
Right. And, you know, the Queen Martha Stewart says two things of towels, one on the bed and one that's in the laundry. You know, maybe that's a little severe, but the point being, you know, I was with a client not long ago, and she had 12 sets of sheets in one bed. And
Were you with my wife? Is that what happened? You were with my wife and I didn't know?
And I don't think it ever occurred to her. So I pulled out the old, well, Martha Stewart says, and she said, really? How many sets of sheets do you have? And I said, 2. And she was like, oh, well, maybe I don't need all of these sheets. And like it just didn't occur to her, I think. And so whatever, it was a springboard for me to at least get her down to 8. So that was progress. Right. Again, point being, little tricks for the frequency in which you do things, and making things easier in your laundry routine. Another great idea I've heard is socks. Okay, so I love this little story. When I was growing up, we always had a basket that had the loose socks in it. And my grandmother used to come over, pull out the basket out, and fold and match socks. And then she would leave the socks on the kitchen table. And we would always say, oh my God, the sock fairy came. Because that was always like the dreaded task. Well, later in life, I met someone who all of the white socks were the same brand of sock and all of the black socks were the same brand of sock. There was never any matching involved. They were all the same. I was like, oh my God. It's like that was completely eye-opening to me. So I think looking at your, again, just to go back to looking at the laundry routine that you have, what can you do about that routine to make it more efficient? Because I don't think we don't look at it because it's such a boring task. But I think everything in our lives, if we go back and we re-examine what we're doing, we could probably find ways to streamline things.
Right.
And actually, earlier this week, this is kind of a little bit off point, but I want to kind of give everyone a little bit of a resource. We had a speaker earlier this week at a meeting that I went to, and his name was Ari Meisel, and he wrote a book called Less Doing. I think it's Less Doing is his website, actually. But he was talking about just so many routines that we do in daily life, and that there's just so many steps, and how our brains are wired to do the same thing the same way all the time. That's just kind of how our brains work. Right. And that you can rewire your brain to do things differently. So, again, a little totally an aside, but I want to challenge you for that kind of the laundry routine. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's move beyond talking about the routine to the actual space itself. Mm-hmm. Because I've got some great products that I just, want to talk about, like what makes a great laundry room, what's really going to work for you. I don't know about you, but every laundry room I ever had growing up was like a dungeon.
Right.
Like you didn't want to be down there. It was dark. It was dank. So that's the first thing. Lighting. Great lighting in your laundry room. If you don't have good lighting, you're treating stains, you're doing things of that nature, you need good lighting. You also need a place to put dirty laundry. So let's make this a space you want to be in. The laundry shouldn't be all over the floor. You don't want to put it on top of the washer and dryer. You want to have, either laundry baskets. And by the way, you can't have enough laundry baskets, I believe.
I agree. Especially if
I also think, yeah, I also believe that you need to, maybe it's cheap, but if your laundry baskets don't all nest in each other, then, when they're not in use, you want to be able to consolidate them. So you want to at least make sure your laundry baskets can all. The second thing is, so for the laundry, back to the laundry on the floor.
Right.
You don't want it on the floor. You don't want it on the top of the washer and dryer. On the top of the washer and dryer, you don't want to have your detergent and all of that stuff. You want to have, a shelf for that. If you don't have a room for a shelf, I've got another great product I'm going to show you that I'm hoping won't pixel.
I'm hoping. Try to move real slow because your pixelation is really funky. But your audio, I think, is very cool. John, you have any problems with the audio? Audio is cool?
Oh, he's on mute.
Yeah, I'm having a little. I'm having a little trouble with the audio too.
Oh, you're having trouble with the audio? Okay.
Yeah. It's not video, terrible, but it's a little wavy.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll hold on for another minute there, and okay.
I can see what you're showing though now a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm going to refer to a few things. I actually did a blog posting that's going to go live around noon today that has all of these pictures. It refers back to the event and has all these pictures of all these products that I think are great. So rather than I'm having a hard enough time with the audio and the pixelation and my everything today that I'll just keep talking and not show anything. I think that'll just it up. So again, the reason you want to keep that surface clean on top of your washer and on top of your dryer is you need a spot for folding. So having a table or having some sort of surface that you can fold on in your laundry space is also helpful. Waist high is the ideal, and again, go to my blog. There is this great flip up shelf. You mount it to the wall, it folds flat, and then you can just flip it up and you use it for folding. So it's great if you don't really have a lot of space in a laundry area. Also in your laundry area, I'm just going to check my notes so I don't forget anything. Clothing rod for any hang drying any clothing. You need space for storing your irons, anything maybe you can hang on the wall that you can hang like the iron and the ironing board, space for any collapsible racks that you might need. So these are all the things you need. You look at the space like you would any other space in your home. You know, when we declutter, we kind of go in there and try to look at it with fresh eyes. I don't think we ever look at our laundry room with fresh eyes. If you make it a space that you want to be in, can you do something to the floor in there? Like, can you add foam tiles to make it more comfortable to be standing in there and working? Can you make sure you have a radio or a television so that it's kind of fun? Can you add color? Can you, create baskets or laundry baskets or anything of that nature that you can kind of throw in there to just brighten up the space and make it a space that you want to be in? The other thing to watch out for, and I'm sure this happens to a lot of people, is the laundry room the dumping ground for the rest of the junk in the house because it's out of the way. Think about it.
I don't have to. I'm picturing,
your basement.
Well, no, I'm picturing, we're fortunate. We have the laundry, closet is on like the first floor, but it also happens to be like right when you walk into the house. So sometimes the top of the washer and dryer turns into an impromptu mail sorting desk, and the mail will sit up there, and then you go and you bring down a laundry, you forget that you have the mail, and now you got a situation.
Yeah. That's one of those instances where, again, can't have too many laundry baskets. Right. Well, what if all that mail ended up in a laundry basket, and then when you came down with your laundry, you could just move the laundry basket with the mail, and then you wouldn't have to worry about the two things being blended together, right?
Exactly.
Because you want to be able to clear that in an instance like yours where the washer and dryer is in a closet, you don't have a lot of other space. So what can you bring to the equation that allows you to clear that space on top of the washer and dryer quickly? And I would say, obviously baskets are something that can do that. That's, an organizer's best friend, containers, right?
Right. So that's, I was really excited when we first started talking about this subject. It's like laundry and linens. Yeah. And like immediately I knew that it would be a great subject to talk about because of the way that you spoke about it. Like, how many people think about their linen and laundries? And I never did. Not like that. I've thought about what a pain in the butt it is to do laundry. I've thought about what a pain in the butt it is to organize those linens. But I never really thought about doing things differently. So, like Ann was saying before, like you take stuff and you rearrange and then you put it all back, but you're not getting rid of anything. So I think it's great. And especially what I like is the idea of doing one person's laundry at a time. And it makes sense because that really is like, it's a pain in the butt. You're in there and you're pulling out, well, I mean, for me, I have two small young kids, so I got little socks, and then I got my socks, and then I got my wife's pants, and it's just a big jumble. And then even when the kids try to help, because you always want to include them in some kind of activity, even when they help, they end up making more of a mess because then you're actually doing it 2 more times because they mess everything up and mix it up. So it's a really good suggestion, at least.
It's an interesting concept, yeah.
Yeah. And the other
and also think about other people who are in your home. And, like, mom doesn't want to be the one doing laundry all the time.
Right.
But chances are dad probably can't tell the difference between the clothes of the kids. Maybe the babysitter can. Sorry, no offense. But maybe the babysitter, the grandmother, if you're going to have, if there's other people floating around.
Right.
I go into some of my clients' homes, and I'm amazed at how many people are kind of in and out of the house when there's a family and kids, and you just don't, no one knows. So it's helpful to have someone who can fold laundry for you, but, they may not know. You still have to, mom still has to come in and sort it all out.
Right.
So wouldn't it be nice if you can just get rid of that stuff?
It would be. And then, of course, another thing is nice, too, is when you do laundry, like certain people, like myself, I'm crazy when it comes to folding my own stuff. So, it's good maybe even if you have conversations with your significant other, your spouse, or whoever you're doing things with, because there's nothing like getting folded laundry and then getting upset because you want to refold it the way you like to do it. So I may even think about sharing some of my quirkiness with my wife right now and make my laundry experience better. Because I'm sure I do the same thing to her. I'll fold something in half instead of in thirds, and then she's got to do it again. So it's just a bunch of time saving. And the other thing that I really like, and it's funny, is with the socks, because I used to have all different kinds of socks. And then you'd lose a sock, and then you'd have the abandoned sock, and then you got a drawer filled with nothing that matches. then when I started to get real busy in like my previous life, I was wearing a lot of the same stuff anyway. So I just had two kinds of socks, same brand, like you mentioned before. One was black, one was white. So I never had anything, and I usually would have about, you know, like 10 days worth of socks. But what would happen is I never really scheduled my laundry. And then even though I had like a big supply of socks, it'd be 10 days later and I wouldn't do my laundry and then I'd have no socks, you know?
Right.
So it's important to schedule that and put it into your routine. I think these are just great suggestions. I think it's definitely going to make a difference in my life, just two little tricks like this. So
right,
awesome.
Right. Yeah, and that's, you know, that's really, I mean, it's laundry, right? It's kind of boring, but
yeah. But at least
I just spent 15 minutes talking about it, and I could keep talking.
And you know what? I'm going to be furthering this conversation later today with some people I know. Like, check this out about laundry. So anyway, well, listen, thank you. It was
thank you.
It was great. It's so common, and yet, you know, you never take the time to stop about these simple things that can really make a difference. And I mean, look at the smile on my face right now. I'm excited to do some laundry later today. It's going to be great. I'll wash some clothes. All right.
All
so
right.
Collette, little round. Oh, and of course, everybody, Collette Shine. She's wonderful. She's right in the heart of New York City. She's awesome. I mean, every time we have a conversation, it's great. We're involved in stuff together. So check her out. It's organizeandshine.com.
Yep, thank you.
All her stuff will be linked underneath, and special offers and all that stuff, PDFs. It'll all be good. So Collette, thank you so much. Super job. All right. So I think we're doing pretty good on the time right now. And what I'd like to do is introduce somebody who I just recently met. Neela Micha was supposed to be here for the event, but she had a personal matter that she had to attend, and she gave me somebody who I think we are going to have a great relationship moving forward. We spoke, the first time we spoke for like over an hour, and it was just dynamite. So I'd like to introduce Beth Allen. Where are you, Beth? Say hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Right. Hey, there you are.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay.
All right.
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, so happy to have you. Thank you so much. So.
Well, I wanted to. I loved Colette's thing about the laundry. I have a 16-year-old who I started making him do his own laundry a year ago, and it's awesome. We don't do his laundry. And my husband finished his MBA about 4 years ago and came to me and said, "What chore do you want me to take over around the house?" And I said, "Laundry." So I have not done a load of laundry in 4 years, folks, and I'm telling you, it's awesome. I'm very spoiled that way.
He got an MBA in teaching himself how to make his wife happy. He came to you right after and said, "What chore can I do?" It's a good man. I like him.
Absolutely.
You know what? Let's give him a round of applause.
It's awesome.
All right.
But go ahead. What questions do you have for me, Adam?
I was going to say jump right in. I mean, you know, we had a great conversation. Like I said, we spoke for over an hour the other morning, and you were giving me a lot of things to think about, a lot of insight on the topics that you're touching. I don't want to spoil them, so you can just jump right in and do your magic, Beth. Go.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, my business is Hip Chicks. It's Home Improvement Project Chicks. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the DIY angle of home projects, gardening. You know, spring is here. It's time to get ourselves together. So one of the things that I recently learned the hard way from doing my own massive bathroom renovation was that you need to take the step back and really be organized when you're approaching these home renovation projects, because they can get out of hand real quickly. And before you know it, you can't find the tools, you can't find the rags, you can't clean up, and who does the vacuum hose and all that stuff. So I have some tips on how to tackle those home renovation projects, whether small scale, big scale, indoor, outdoor, just so that you can keep organized, you can keep calm, you end up not fighting with your DIY buddy, whether it's a spouse or a friend, and how to keep it clean and on time, because it's all time and money when you're dealing with projects like that. So one of the first things I want to tell people is to create a staging area, so that, you know, for us, we were working on our master bathroom, so we used a corner of the master bedroom to kind of create that workspace. So we hit BJ's and Costco, whichever store you use, and got some cardboard boxes. or milk crates or whatever it is you have around that you can use to store like tools. So we kept all of the, you know, hand tools and just the regular screwdrivers, hammer, little things in an area. Then in another bucket, we had the plumbing tools. So I had, you know, the pipe wrench and the pipe tape and soldering equipment, and did the same for electric, for drywall, sandpaper, spackle, so that when you need something, it's right outside your workspace, and it was kind of laid all around the room. Now, the first of the project, we didn't do any of that, and it was total chaos. But after fighting, because I lay things anywhere, and my husband is very anal, like you said, and organized, we decided we needed the buckets. We needed the boxes to keep everything together. So we did it for a little bit. We also made a point to get the staging equipment, the safety equipment, sorry, together so that we had it all in one spot. Another thing that we did was to, oops, sorry, phone call's coming in, is to make sure we had the safety equipment in place ahead of time. We made sure that it was there and it was what we needed. You know, if you're sanding, make sure you have the dust mask. Make sure you have the a fire extinguisher. I was
just going to say, you're talking about soldering. Fire extinguisher is always a good idea.
My first attempt at soldering, and I did pretty well. But making sure I had the fire extinguisher there.
You didn't have to use it, did you?
What?
You didn't have to use the fire extinguisher, did you, on your first attempt?
I did not have to use it. I did not. It was all prepped. I went through the whole ABC procedure with my kids, and they were there to help if necessary.
Right.
But just make sure you have that safety stuff. Another key thing, which my husband was really on top of, and I'm glad he was the daily cleanup. It was at the end of every workday. We took that 5 minutes to go through and get the dustpan and brush, sweep up, vacuum, wipe down surfaces, and put everything back in its spot so that the next day we woke up, it was fresh, we could begin with a fresh plate. Where are we starting today? What piece are we working on? So that was very helpful. One of my friends is a pro organizer, and she gave me this fantastic tip of using laundry baskets. Like Collette said, you can never have enough laundry baskets.
Right.
And at the end of the day, or at the end of a couple days of work, we would take the laundry basket from the bedroom and fill it with all of the stuff that we were done using in the work area, and then take it back to the basement or the garage and start putting things back. So that was really great for us to stay on top of things. And the laundry basket tip she also said was to carry it around the house and throw all the junk from the rooms that it doesn't belong in into the basket, and then as you move from room to room, you put everything back. And I'm like, oh, I love that. So we've been trying to do that around here for every day, not just for project work. Right. Another great tip for any project is to have a receipt box. Because I don't know about anybody else, but in the middle of a project, you're making 12,000 runs to Home Depot, and you've got all these receipts. And at the end of the project, like, well, I didn't use this and I didn't use that. You want to have a place where you keep all the project receipts together so you can put them right back in your wallet, take all your stuff back, and get your money back. Right. So it's a way to save time and effort and also save you money because you're making your returns. And another key organizing thing with projects is to have duplicate tools. You know, if you have two of you working even in the garden or out, you know, building something, you want to have two hammers, you want to have two hand shovels, you want to have two, you know, those dandelion diggers with the little prongs like a snake tooth, you know, have two of those guys handy. Maybe the kids walk up and they're like, oh, let me help. You know, you can hand them a tool. This way they're busy helping, but yeah, you're still actually getting the work done.
Yeah, nice.
Because you know that the kids want to help,
100%.
And then take a tool, and you're paralyzed watching them. Like, okay, get bored already. So
then you're like, okay, that's good. Give it back,
exactly.
Right? Mm-hmm.
You don't want to deter that energy, but you want to get it done.
Right.
So duplicate tools are really helpful when you're getting things done around the house. Let's move outside though.
Okay.
I'm an avid gardener. I have a lot of beds around my house. I have a koi pond, and I love to be outside. But it's a huge project come April and May. You know, the beautiful weather's here, but you got to clean up your yard. Now, some people will call the landscaper guy, come take care of everything for them. But if you're going to do it yourself, let's talk about how to get organized on that aspect. It might be time for you to go in the garage and assess your equipment. Are things rusted and beyond repair? Maybe you need new gloves. You need a new knee pad so that you can sit down on. You want a new weed bucket, or where you're going to keep your junk before you dump it into the those paper recycling bags. So assess your tools, what you need to replace, maybe what needs to be repaired. If you've got old rusted tools that are still in working order but they're a little scummy, you want to just wash them with soap and water, get the mud and the dirt off. Then you can clean them with CLR, that calcium lime and rust remover, and sit them in a bucket of that for 2 hours, and then scrub some of the rust off, and they'll polish up nice. And a trick to store some of those metal tools is to get a bucket or a container that you can close with sand, and you can store them right, tool side down into the sand, and it'll help keep the rust and any other issues from coming up.
Really?
Yeah, it's a nice way to keep control over those tools for the winter too. It's a great way to store them so that they won't get yucky over the winter. So for a few bucks, you can buy a big bag of sand and put it into like a Rubbermaid container that seals and keep everything in there. So
right. Well, I'm writing that. I'm writing that down. Not that I have a lot of tools. We have like 6 tools, and because we have like this tiny little thing. But the kids use them, and they were even using them in some of the snow. They were gardening the snow one day when they were out playing.
Right.
But so a little bucket. That's interesting.
Yeah, and then even if you did get them wet, the sand will help dry and suck up some of the moisture, so you can put them in there. But it's always better to make sure your tools have been rinsed off and dried before you store them, just to reduce any rust.
Sure.
And if you are hiring someone to come and do some of that yard prep for you, you want to make it a point to get your estimates early. It's April, before you know it, graduations, communions, showers for babies and weddings. People want their yard to look nice. So get on the phone now, ask your friends for referrals, or call the guy you used last year and get them on the books so that you can get the yard cleaned up. And order your mulch. You want to shop around, check your local mailers. A lot of places offer discounts on mulch based on the number of scoops you order and all that stuff.
Right.
So think about getting all of that stuff done ahead of time so that when you're ready to actually do it, it's there and you can move forward.
Yeah.
Another great thing about the yard, just like you have the laundry basket for working around the house, you want to make sure that you have your garden basket or a bucket or even a box, whatever works for you, and keep all of your stuff in it as you're tending through the yard so that you're not running back to the garage or the shed to go and get your stuff.
Right.
So I like to throw my gloves and the dandelion digger and the pruners and all that into a nice sturdy bucket so that I can just tote it around with me and have everything at my fingertips.
Right. I really like that idea of the laundry basket. Before I was an organizer, I was a home builder, and like it used to drive me crazy because like every job that I ever worked on, I ran on. Whenever I was working on stuff, and I worked on a lot of stuff, I would make sure that at the end of the day, tools were put away, garbage was picked up, because I like to walk into a job site clean so I can reassess everything in the morning, put my game plan on, and if you have altercations, everything is cleaned up. You can maneuver yourself. It's the same thing when I did home projects. And it just would drive me crazy when contractors, sheetrockers, the electricians, they leave their stuff laying around the job. And I never actually thought about the laundry basket idea, even in my own home renovation, but it's great because I've walked around with Home Depot buckets or Lowe's buckets for, I don't want to not count any of the big discount stores, but I walk around with these buckets and I pile all my tools in, and it's really hard to get the tools out because like the drill, like with the wire or the sawzall, it'll get stuck and entangled with the other tools. And just as you say, laundry basket, like I see it all laid out, giving myself more space. I just see it saving minutes on top of minutes, job on top of job, and basically like a lifetime when you're done. It's a great suggestion.
Those big 5-gallon buckets are awesome, but you've got a small spot at the bottom where all the junk falls.
Yeah.
It's like a woman digging through the bottom of her purse trying to find anything.
Yeah, and if you drop a drill bit down there, forget it,
Oh,
So, but I really like that. That's great. So, you know what? I'll put all my tools in a laundry basket in my newly redesigned laundry room based on Colette's suggestions. It'll be awesome. So that's great.
Yeah.
So, and it makes
What, Adam?
I was going to say it all makes sense. You know, keep the prep area, clean it up, have good assortment space for your tools, and move in the receipt box also. I mean, you know, it's hit or miss with me with returning on the Home Depot. You know, I have some stuff from two years ago that is still in the packaging where I never got to the Home Depot, where I couldn't find the receipt. And then, you know, sometimes on a new project, I go back and, you know, it's nice to have, actually, I got to give them a compliment. It's nice to have a store where they take things back when you don't use them without giving you a hard time. You know, because that always happens. You're always buying a little bit extra because you don't know exactly what you need, and they're so accommodating over there. So thumbs up to the Home Depot.
Yep, absolutely. That's my favorite store. But
all right.
I also wanted to share a quick little DIY trick for you guys.
Okay, go for it.
In springtime, like you know, Ann was saying, it's nice to put new stuff up on the walls. You know, it's get a new perspective, change the artwork, change the family photos, and, you know, bring it up to date. So when you're tackling something like that, it can be a little daunting. I know I enjoy like the wall collage where you've got, you know, everybody's pictures and, you know, different frames and all that. So as a designer, I'm going to give you one tip. Make sure the frames are all cohesive. They don't have to all be the exact same frames, but like colors or like styles, it really creates a more designer look when you tackle that collage on the wall. But I wanted to show you a little trick on how to do a collage on the wall when you've got a big project and you don't want to make holes. What I like to do is take, I hope you can see this well.
Sure.
I use sticky notes here just to give you an idea of how to do it. But if you're doing this on a real wall, I get a roll of craft paper. And I cut out the craft paper in the sizes of the frames that I'm going to put on the wall.
Right.
And then I use painter's tape. And you can arrange the entire wall in the pattern that you want it, with every frame having its spot. And then you use the level and you make sure everything's symmetrical and level and balanced and all that good stuff. Or it can be random if you don't like rules and symmetry. And then you can hold each frame up to the wall, determine the hook on the back, the placement, and then put the nail right through the paper, then take the paper off and just hang everything up.
Ah, so that's good. So you take the craft paper, you lay out the craft paper, you put the picture on top of the craft paper, give like a rough but decent cut around so you're close to actual size, and then just tape those up on the wall, rearrange them, and you're not driving yourself nuts, nor are you spackling 800 holes in the wall when you're done with the project. All right, I like it. All right, great tip to end it off there. So, Beth, thank you so much for joining. You know, I was really excited to have you, and you know, thanks for helping out and doing a favor, and just great to meet you. And I'm glad that Neelam got a chance to put us together. So thanks for being over here. And of course, like we said before, you know, everybody that we have on the panel is going to have a PDF and a link to their site. You can get to everybody's website, or at least their Google Plus page right now. All the pictures on bringtheneat.com are linked to everybody's Google Plus page. So what we're going to do right now is we're at 10:59. We're running pretty close to on time. We're about 4 minutes behind. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and everybody can go ahead and, you know, get some coffee or use the restroom or whatever you need to do. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put on one little thing over here, since I was talking about the, you know what, I'm not going to do it now because we're running behind. John, let's go ahead and put that timer up for everybody, and we're going to be back in 10 minutes. Okay, we're just going to take a quick little break. John, go ahead, do that, and I'm going to throw myself on mute over here, and Beth, you just may want to throw yourself on mute too. And everybody's on mute. Okay, and I'll be back in just a I'm back over here, and we'll give everybody a couple seconds to come on up. And I got to say, that first hour just kind of flew by. Just like I was thinking about it during the break. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe we did an hour already, right, John?
I know, it goes by fast, doesn't it?
It sure does. And really, such great information. I'm so glad everybody's here. Oh, I see Jennifer's popped in over there. Hey, Jennifer, how are you? Nice to see you this morning. Everybody looks so pretty. Everybody's so happy. We're all about spring. Woo! This is good stuff. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and my Google Effects back. And all right, so we got, where's Stevie? Stevie's over there. I see she's on. She'll be coming on. All right, so let's Bring the Neat 2 started back on up, everybody. Yay, glad you're here. Glad we're doing this. Big round of applause for all the speakers. And let's hop right on into it. So the first hour was great. We had a lot of great information. Of course, the replay will be up, and I just want to remind everybody, all the speakers that are here today, everybody has a PDF handout and a great value on a product that they offer. You get more in touch, get information. They have tons of free information. They all have websites. I mean, we're all real people over here doing what we do best, and that's working in the field of organization. And also, hopefully, you guys will be able to check out, although it's not on my lower third, but you'll be able to check out my company as well. It's rapidgiftbag.com, and I make the best gift wrap storage organizer on the planet. So check it out. All right. So let's get on over to Stevie. Can you hear us over there? You got yourself on mute.
Hi.
And here she comes. Stevie Wison, everybody. la-story.com.
Thanks, Adam. This is great to be here.
All right. Now, we got you on the audio. We don't see your video. Is your camera on? I just want to double check with you.
My camera is on. It was working just fine when I did a test with John earlier in the week, and of course, it's not working today.
All right. Well, this is the way that things happen. But most importantly, Stevie, just like last time, we have your audio available, and everybody is curious about your information. And as lovely as you are, we'll have to just get a big picture of you up on the site when we're done. So,
I'll get a new
Stevie,
picture.
Why don't you take it away? And thanks for joining us. You're on the West Coast in California, so it's early for you. So we extra appreciate you being here. And let's rock and roll. Stevie, take it away.
Okay, yeah, rock and roll, that's what LA is all about.
There you go.
When we're talking about summer and spring and all, and what you want to do in terms of getting your shopping gear going, now's the time to be thinking after you've already done some of these, all the organization that you've done in terms of cleaning out your closets and seeing what you do need and what you don't need. So the best thing is to start thinking about what you do need and making a list and start looking at the different places that you want to go shopping. And the thing is to get you the best bargains. A lot of department stores are already clearing out spring things. If you're looking for things like for a kid that is going off to camp, you might want to be looking at those kinds of things now because they're on markdown, as well as also somebody who's going to be going to prom. Well, while you wouldn't be necessarily buying a tux for somebody, you will be buying prom dresses and those kinds of accessories. Shoes are always necessary. The accessories, like whether it's cufflinks or jewelry, those are things that can be bought now, and you can get it at a really ridiculously great price. If you also look at other websites besides the big box stores, in big box stores you actually have to do a lot of comparison shopping there because it's not always the cheapest or most cost-effective way of doing this. So the best way of handling this is to start looking online and do comparison shoppings there. Also on your mobile, have comparison apps so you can actually Google up or search through your apps and look at it and have a way to get comparison prices so you know exactly where, and save yourself some time, where to be shopping. So I have found some new things in terms of if you're looking for fashions or home decor and things like that, are things like Tradesies and Poshmark, fashions that are like a Pinterest kind of ambience, but where you're able to comparison shop and find the sizes and colors at seriously great discounts. And these are brand new or gently used items. And there's a whole slew of things that will be on my blog that I'll list in terms of this webinar of places that you should go shopping. The interesting part here is that if you're looking at places like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ross, all those places, those are great places to try as well because you can get keep shopping there every couple of weeks to see about bargain prices, because they start marking things down very rapidly. So you're getting markdowns upon markdowns. So if you're looking at that, that's a great idea. If you're looking for home decor, I would suggest checking any of the outlets, stores, and if you have any clearance sales, now's the time to be buying things like for wedding gifts and things like that. Do definitely check out registration for people who are getting married to see what it is they need, or babies are coming, for the things that moms need there. Recycling things is the up word today. It's the hot word, so that you don't have to necessarily downsize. You don't have to spend full price, but you can actually help the mom or the bride get what it is they want or need, and make sure that they all have the way of being able to get the best buy on your, shopping dollar.
Right.
Other than that, we're pretty much looking at just what's the best way for you to get your own fashions and be happy with, like Easter. And I would tell you this, if you're looking at Easter and some of these things that are truly time-sensitive holidays, don't buy candy. Don't buy candy. You don't need to buy candy. Kids are going to get tons of candy as it is from other people. But why not give books? Why not give pencils and other things that they can use, and little gadgets, fun things?
Yeah,
go to dollar stores or other things like that to be able to buy things that are necessary, and usually they can use, like earbuds that are like $2 a piece. I can't remember one kid that hasn't lost multiple sets of earbuds, or they die. So the thing is that you can actually give them those, and those are great things to give. So other than that, I think pretty much if you've got the ability to shop online, check out all the sales, keep on top of things, discount coupons, or if you have a group that you're part of on Facebook, ask people if they've got any coupons or other things to help you get a better deal on purchasing, whether it's beauty products or it's fashion.
Right. And it's interesting that you say that. Like now, like stores, they have their spring stuff on clearance already.
Right.
And like spring just got here this week, as far as I'm concerned. Like 2 weeks ago it was still freezing. So it boggles my mind how the shopping seasons, at least in the retail level, have changed so much in the past couple of years. Everything seems to be so ahead of itself, and then it gets crazy, because now you have the choice of buying the end of spring and you're buying the beginning of the summer. So it's kind of good. Stevie, one of the things I wanted to ask you also on our pre-chat, we were talking about like shopping for, you had mentioned kids and buying stuff for the summer, but what about things like kids camps? When is the best time to shop for that, for like summer programs for your children?
Actually, start now. Your best way is, because if you can get things that are on spring discount, and spring discount includes t-shirts, shorts, tennis shoes, things like that. Even luggage, for God's sake. You never know. Maybe your kid needs a larger duffel because they're much larger. They've grown a lot, so they need more stuff to be able to, a larger bag to take things in. A lot of times kids, the things that they have from last year just don't suit and don't work. And you may have another kid, so you can actually use it there. So you just step it down a notch. But now's the time to actually go start shopping there. Get the list from the different camps. See what equipment you might need. You might want to start watching for sales on things like sports equipment. If you're sending your kid to a tennis camp or a golf camp or something like that, just start looking and start trying to buy things on discount. And look for different places in your greater area, and maybe partner up with another mom who might be going to that kind of same camp, or who wants to go get some bargain gear, whether it's tennis or golf or swimming gear or things like that, because if you've got an avid swimmer, they'll go through a lot of stuff because it deteriorates in chlorine. So the best bet is to keep looking for it, and also check out second-hand stores, particularly when it comes to sports gear.
Right. That's really important. I know. Actually, when I was growing up, there was a really good. I'm sorry, John. Go ahead, buddy.
I was gonna say, Ann just asked Stevie in the chat. I don't know if you noticed it. If there was an app that she recommends for coupons.
More than one, probably 3 or 4. And actually, I will be putting. I'll make that a note on my list of to-do things for this, because I don't have a handout. For me, it's like. Thank you, Ann, for asking that question, because actually that's something that should be one of my takeaways for next time, is to give you the list of apps that you should be using and the sites that I would recommend checking out, because I was really surprised in shopping for my daughter for Christmas and for her birthday, which she just had a birthday last week. we started shopping for things that she wanted, and she would find that one place would sell out of it in a store, but things like Poshmark and Tradesy and other spots that are just really cool places that you can buy things for like 1/3 the price of retail, which is really a great deal. And if it was only worn a couple of times, I think that's a great idea.
Sure, and 1/3 off the price, I'll probably buy anything, even if I don't need it. 1/3 of the price, that's like 70% off. That's great. So that's really good. And actually, I was thinking about, as you say it, with buying the kids swimsuits because they deteriorate with the chlorine. Not only can I imagine, because this just happened to us last summer, we got my daughter some swimsuits right at the beginning of the season. We're fortunate enough that my family has a pool. I should say my parents have a pool, and they live locally, so we go over there a lot during the summer. And by the end of the summer, like, her bathing suit was so tight on her, the color, it was like a rainbow pinky type of bathing suit, and it looked like a cloudy day as opposed to a rainbow at the end. And she really outgrew it before the season was over. I mean, she's only like 5 now, so they grow so fast. So that's a great little thing. And then the clearance, it's all good stuff. And as far as like planning trips and vacationing, we also spoke about that a little bit on the pre-chat.
Yes.
Like now is the best time to shop for vacations when?
You should be starting to check your prices now. If you're looking to book airlines, you're looking at probably booking out July and August, because you've got to do it as soon as possible, because for airlines it's the ability to buy bargain, unless you're able to go last minute. If you're able to go last minute, you can go almost any place and get a really bargain price. If you try the airlines websites and things like Priceline and all the others, Travel Zoo and things like that, you can get some great deals. But if you're looking at booking out things for specific locations that you want to go, say you want to go to Hawaii, or you want to go to Maine, or you want to go to Canada, those are places, or even, if you're looking to go to Europe, start looking and start shopping online. Talk to a travel agent, actually. If you can afford to travel like that, you should really look at your travel agent, who is actually a very helpful person, who can get you the best prices, give you the kind of hotel that you want, give you some options to be able to weigh the difference in terms of prices. It'll save you a lot of time. If you do have time to be able to do the shopping yourself, then go online and start looking at the different prices and looking at the different hotels, and narrow your choices down. So if you do need to check a travel agent, you can make it fast, quick, and you can jump on it as soon as possible. I know that travel insurance may seem like it's an oxymoron, but having personally had a couple of situations where we actually had to cancel because of illness, it actually makes a huge difference to have it. So if something goes wrong in terms of, you take a cruise and you find that the weather is really bad and people are getting sick and throwing up all over the place in your family, your best bet is to get off that cruise or spend a lot of time on land.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
It doesn't make it fun when your kid is sitting there in the bathroom all the time going, "Mom, what am I supposed to do? I can't do anything."
Oh, kids when they're sick, there's nothing worse than that.
Right.
Actually, I'm glad you mentioned travel agent, because fortunately with business, sometimes I have to do some traveling, and although I get away from my family and I miss them tremendously, I still have to go away and do some stuff for work. And it's so crazy because there's so many different travel sites out there, between your Priceline and your Orbitz and this, that, the other thing, and not all of those sites carry all the different carriers. So I had to book a trip out I'm going to the NAPO convention, the National Association of Professional Organizers, in Arizona in May. And it was too confusing. I was in like the $700 range for a ticket. I couldn't figure out how to get anything less expensive, and I called the travel agent, and they were very inexpensive to use. They charged me a small percentage of what the ticket cost me, and they ended up getting me a ticket for around $370 round trip.
Such a deal.
Such a deal. Really, I almost bought 2 tickets.
You should have. I mean, really, it's like, the thing is that when you can talk to somebody who can actually streamline the whole process, and to boot, could have probably gotten you a great hotel room too, bargain. Right. And then make it the whole package so that you have air and land, boom, done, and with so little, effort on your part, they make it so much easier. The stress part of shopping online can be mind-boggling.
Well, you hit the nail right on the head, because it was the stress part. Because I was stressed out. I spent like 25 minutes. I'm not a professional travel arrangement booker person. And what I did was I essentially went to a professional organizer of travel, and that's what they do. They read the language, they have the websites, they know what they're looking at, and they're there to do the best deal that you can for them. So you work with them again, and it was worth every penny I spent. It literally cost me like $45, and it took her maybe 12 minutes from start to finish. And it was so worth it. So listen, Stevie, always great to hear from you. Wonderful, wonderful tips. And you know, everybody shops, so I'm sure that everybody is sitting there nodding their head, going, "Yeah, now is a good time to look for the bargains." So
absolutely.
I thank you so much. I'm so sorry that your video didn't come across, but we see your pretty face in the picture, and your information was dynamite. So a little round of applause, Stevie Wison. Oh, and of course, check out Stevie Wison. All her links will be in the videos below, and everything will be tagged up. And check her out. She's awesome, and she's all over the LA scene. So thank you, Stevie.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Good round of applause there. That's good stuff. Okay, so we're running right on time, which is awesome. One of my newer friends, I say for that, but it's really not newer friend. We actually just met like in person for the first time real recently, but we've been hanging out since I started the Rapid Gift Wrap Company. And it's just been a great relationship. She's from girlymom.com, Melissa Potvin, and I'm so happy to have you. Everybody say good morning to Melissa. Yay!
Thank you, Adam, and it was so great to meet you, Adam. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Just give me a second.
Me saying something.
Stevie over there. Okay, you're good to go.
Great, excellent. That was great, Adam. I've really enjoyed listening to all the presentations so far, and I know one thing that I have to work on is booking those vacations in advance, because spring break, all these school holidays, they're gone. You know, and if you don't book those in advance, you're out of luck. So thank you for that presentation. That was great. So hi, everyone. This is Melissa Potvin with Girly Mom. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to talk to you today. And I am all about advanced preparation today. So unfortunately, John and Adam, I couldn't get my lower third to cooperate again today, so I have to take that up with Google. Problem, right? Now I have a bunch of props that I'm going to be showing today, so I'll move as slow as I can so that they can show on the screen properly.
Great.
If possible, can I do some screen sharing? I would really love to do that.
Yeah, if you can handle screen share, it's fine. In fact, you know what? I got to say that I forgot to be taking pictures. I've been so into the information. John, I'm going to load up the camera. If anybody else wants to load up their camera, as long as nobody minds being on camera, which I don't think anybody on the panel does, we're going to take some pictures so we can get those loaded up, all the fun we had onto Google. So let me just get that, and I'm going to ask you for a big dynamite smile, Melissa. Say cheese.
Cheese.
All right, beautiful. Picture number one in the hole.
Of course it had to start with me.
There you go. All right, so knock yourself out. Go ahead.
I'll attempt the screen share. We'll give it a shot.
Okay.
So the first thing so at Girly Mom we talk about a lot of things. We've just launched some really amazing service offerings. We do a lot of blogging about organizing, obviously. I'm a mother of 3. I work full time. I blog on the side. So advanced preparation was near and dear to my heart, because we're always faced with that daily conundrum as working parents to figure out these tricks to help get us out the door quickly. And there's always just so much going on when you're working and you have children, or whether you're not working. There's just always so much going on. So I hope you enjoy the tips today. I'll just get right into it. The first thing I want to talk to you about is advanced preparation of snacks, because again, we want our kids to eat healthy. You know, they're running out the door very early in the morning to catch the bus. You want to make sure they eat breakfast. I know at my house I can't be flipping pancakes every single day, but I want to make sure they eat. So a couple little tips, and here's the first prop. The first thing that I do in my house is I just keep a very nice, you know, very simple, inexpensive Tupperware on the counter with granola bars. You know, I've got pastry crisps here, Fiber One bars, anything that they can grab and go, you could put into a container so that they can get out the door. And listen, it prevents us from having mother's guilt. We know that at least they ate something. So I love this. I also keep in here these little handy dandy oatmeal packs that you can get at the store, so that they can, my kids are at that tween age now where they like to do things themselves. They enjoy to pour the milk in, or the almond milk, or whatever they choose to use. throw it into the microwave, and off they go. They can have, you know, a decent breakfast. So, of course, I would love the opportunity to make them breakfast every day. It's not always realistic, at least in my house. Right. So I love to have things that are ready for them to go. The next thing that I like to do is, because many of us are really conscious about what our kids eat, I like to have my fruits and vegetables always ready to go, because I find that if they have to take them out of the fridge, then wash them, and this, that, and the next thing, the likelihood of them actually eating that is slim to none when they can just run to the pantry and grab, you know, cookies. So I love these little snack bins. They come in all different sizes. What's great about them is that they have these freezer tops, which we love. You could put them in a lunchbox. You can leave these in the freezer and just fill these. My kids love grapes. They love raspberries. They love blueberries. They come in all different sizes. This one is square. I have another one here that's round. They come larger. And again, love that they have these freezer tops. So if you were to put 5 of these, say, in your fridge, you could pop this right on the top, and off you go. So my kids, you know, just yesterday as we were running out the door to get to soccer practice and then lacrosse practice and, you know, then religion classes after that, I like keeping these in the car so that they have a healthy snack in between all these things. So absolutely love that idea. And you can get those at any of the major supermarkets. We see them in Target and Walmart as well.
Really? You know, I've never seen those before. Those are really cool. I'm thinking, I mean, besides my kids, I'm thinking about when I go on some of these long drives and I want to take some food along with me. That's so smart.
They're great. It's another option, especially with the fruit, because
how come we didn't think of that? What, you know?
Oh, you know, live and learn. You learn something every day. And then the next thing that I really love, so on Sunday, again, I have to get out the door really early in the morning, you know, and head to work. And packing lunches, my kids unfortunately don't always like to buy lunch, would surely be, you know, much easier. So packing lunches could be a half-hour event, you know, between the sandwiches, the snacks, the drinks. You want to make sure it's healthy. So this is what we do in my house. Hopefully you could see it. I have this basket here, and inside this basket are a bunch of snacks. So now that you've seen the basket, I'll just put this down. So I have a bunch of different snack options. Here I've got just some pretzel sticks with a little thing of Nutella to go. Love this. They can grab and go. I've got some goldfish, Adam's personal favorite, goldfish.
True.
And we also have, you know, some popcorn. So listen, this might not work if you're trying to get a snack on the go for a 17-year-old, right? But this certainly would work for younger kids. Now, in my school district, we not only have to pack lunches, but we also have to pack a snack. So what I love to do, and probably my most favorite prop of the day, is this is really what I do, no joke, every single Sunday, is I do this every single Sunday. This is a basket, and I've got about 9 prepackaged lunch bags, the brown lunch bags that you can get in any supermarket. Hopefully everyone can see that.
Yep, we can see
and
it.
And I have them pre-filled with these small-sized water containers, the water bottles, with some of the dried snacks that I just showed you. And this way, it's one less thing that I have to think about every day. You know, we do a lot of blogging about work-life balance at Girly Mom, and you know, that struggle, that daily conundrum that we all have of, you know, wanting to do really great at work and do really great at home, and you know, juggle all those things. So anything that I could do on Sunday to free my mind of things that you no longer have to think about during the week, to me is a saving grace. So hopefully some great tips for you guys.
Yeah, sure. You know, that's awesome with the Sunday thing. And the 9 bags, I mean, because, you know, I always try to do that, and I try to do that a little bit like with my cooking when I'm making chicken cutlets. Like, you got all the stuff out, right? If you're going to put water in a lunch bag and you're going to put pretzels or, you know, chips or, you know, the other little things that you got there, if you're going to put it, you got it all out on the counter. So how much harder is it just to do that 9 times quick instead of taking all the stuff out, putting it back away every single day? I mean, it's got to save you, like, you know, like 2 days worth of time by the time the school year's ended up, you know? I mean, seriously.
Haven't figured that out, but that's actually hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to do the math right now because I don't want to slow down your speed, but I'll figure it out later. Figure if you save yourself 4 minutes a day, 5 days in the week times, you know, the month, it's it's probably like 2 days worth of time.
And more than anything, you know, it's peace of mind, right? Instead of having to wake up at 5:30 every day, now I can wake up at 6 because I know a lot of these things are done. And many of us, look, on Sundays, many of us prepare our meals for the week in advance.
Right.
So that's actually where I got the idea, was not only do I want to prepare meals, but I also want to prepare some of the things that I know my kids need before they go off to school every day. So that's really where the idea was born.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to the next topic. So one of the things that we just launched at Girly Mom was some service offerings, and I'll just pose this question to everyone out there: is if someone were to ask you to send your resume to them, would you have something current to send to them? And I would venture a guess that 50% of us do not. Maybe it's, you know, you haven't updated your resume in 10 years. Maybe you haven't, you know, maybe you just need to put your, you know, most recent accomplishment on your resume. But it's so important that we keep our resumes current. And again, because we talk so much about balancing work and life and career at Girly Mom, and because I've had so many of my personal friends and family ask me for help on their resume, that's where I had this idea about helping people with their resumes. And so we just launched resume services at girlymom.com. Please check it out on our homepage. If you mention Bring the Neat, we're offering a 30-minute free consultation for anyone that wants to work with us. Now, you can go to any store and buy resume software. We recognize that. And we know that most of you, if not all of you, can update your own resume. For us, it's about saving you the time. Because again, we know that we're all struggling to get everything done. So we have found with the clients that we've worked with so far that it's that time-saving factor that they really appreciate. So they might spend 30 minutes with us talking to us about what they want updated on their resume. We go ahead and do that for them. So I'm going to attempt a screen share here.
Okay, give it a shot. If it works, dynamite. If not, like you just said, everything will be posted up below. And it, you know, it's important because so many of the people that I deal with on a regular basis, and I'm sure a lot of people here on the panel, I mean, everybody's doing that. They're juggling their life, they're juggling their family, they're juggling their careers, their jobs. Some are entrepreneurs, some of them work in corporate world, and it's always good that, you know, with the springtime and that reinvention and the rebirth of the season and the good weather and the feeling good, that you take a look at your resume. I mean, it's an important thing for a lot of people, so I'm glad that you're touching on it.
It really is. Now, can you see my screen here?
We could see it a little bit small and can't really read, but could see it.
It's a little small, but let me see if I can make that larger here, right?
Yeah.
A little bit larger.
There you go.
Okay, so this is just a sample resume, and I just wanted to show, right? This is just one example. In this particular case, this customer wanted something that was very, very, very professional looking, and we do have many different designs that we do. We have, you know, you can get as creative as you want. This is another example. Hopefully you could see this one. I love this one. This is someone that actually wanted more of a standout resume. We did something of like a tag cloud, if you will, in her resume.
I got you.
Yeah, just
that one's not coming through, but make sure that we have a copy of it so that I can get it up on the site for people to see.
Oh, what a shame. Okay.
Yeah, not a problem.
My first attempt at this, Adam. So
hey, that's what it's all about, you know. And I'm so glad that everybody is here because not everybody is a professional hangouter, you know. And I certainly wasn't. But if you hang out with John Paduchak and Ted Wasco, you certainly can become one.
I am definitely going to make that a priority. That's for sure.
Go ahead, John. What were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to jump in quick. If you want to share things, if you put them in the same window on the same tab, you can go from one to the next, from tab to tab.
Okay.
And that's also an easy way to screen share multiple things.
Yeah, we'll cover that one next time. But we'll definitely make sure that we get that good-looking, as you said, what did you call it? You said it was cloud, Melissa?
It was a tag cloud on a resume. And the reason why we did that is because many people don't realize that recruiters are only spending anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds scanning a resume.
Right.
They usually, download that information into a database, and keywords are so important on a resume. So when they're entering your information into their database, they'll enter in a couple keywords. If those keywords are not very prominent on your resume, you could be overlooked.
Right.
So what we like to do with our clients is make sure that we have those keywords very well represented on a resume, either in a larger font or in some creative way. Now, in addition to building out a resume, what we're finding is that many people have a resume but don't have a LinkedIn profile, and we know how important that is.
Sure.
So we're helping our customers get organized in advance by having not only their hard copy resume, but by having an online presence as well, which is very, very important.
Yeah.
So that's
it's a beautiful thing.
That's everyone's homework assignment. Update your resume.
All right. And also, I might like to add, and you're hitting on it, it's having your online presence there, your digital format of it. And, if you're here on Google Plus and you're not that familiar with Google Plus, your Google Plus About page is also a great reference sheet for people to go to look at. When you're putting stuff online, it's a great place, and you can see everybody's virtual resume on Google Plus here. Just click on their photo on the bringtheneat.com, and it'll take you right to their Google Plus page. So, all right. Well, listen, Melissa, thank you so much.
Yep.
Love everything you talked about. Little round of applause for Melissa.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem, not a problem. And of course, all the information will be tagged up and linked below in the description here on the videos. And okay, so sticking with like that whole, getting into balancing the family and like the work life a little bit, it's my privilege and a lot of fun to introduce you to the next speaker, Emily Parks. We got to meet not too long ago, and we've had some really good laughs hanging out a couple of times before this whole Bring the Neat thing, and she's just a wonderful gal, and I give it up for Emily. Emily Parks, everybody, you have to take yourself off mute, please. And if you can't do that, which I know you can, we can do that too. There you go.
I'm off mute. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Adam.
Nice to see you.
Can you hear me?
Sure can. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me, Adam?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Fabulous. Thanks for having me here.
Not a problem. Thanks for being here. Why don't you just take it right away, Emily? You're going to talk about some stuff that I know is going to affect a lot of people because we're all facing the same problem right now, and it's what you specialize in. So please, take it away, Emily.
Well, I am a productivity consultant as well as an office organizer, and as such, I think spring is a great time of renewal, rebirth, regeneration, things like that. And what a better time to bring the neat and think about productivity and capitalizing on the business growth of this spring. So I want to talk about 3 different areas of potential business growth and productivity for individuals and businesses. The first and foremost is email, because the average business executive is faced with up to 300 different emails in any given business day. So there can be a lot of overwhelm that's related to that. I think there are some little tweaks that can make a huge impact in whether somebody is overwhelmed by email and the email is managing the person, or if the person is managing their email and in control. The first and foremost is to change your perception and how you think about email. I want for each of us listening today to focus on processing our email rather than checking our email. When you check your email, you go in and you read it, and then you come back and you respond to it later. Whereas if you schedule a set time to process your email, you're coming in and you're handling all of the messages at the same time that you're reading it. The benefit to that is that, number one, it's not clogging up your inbox. You know what's been handled, what hasn't been handled, and you don't have that mental drain of thinking about that message or contemplating that message when you're not there in front of your email. Plus, the biggest benefit is the lack of wasted time, because when you read a message as you're checking your email and then you come back to it later, when you reread it that second time, it's a duplication of the original effort. So if people just process their email at the time that they read it, instead of checking it and coming back to it, it can save a dramatic amount of time, especially added over days and weeks and months. What I mean by process is if it's a task-oriented email and it takes less than 5 minutes, go ahead and do it. If it takes more than 5 minutes, add it to your running to-do list and schedule a time for it. Every what that is assigned a when is more likely to get completed. If it is a calendar item, go ahead and move it to your planner or your calendar. And if it's a retention item, go ahead and move it to the retention folder, whether that be one of your personal folders or downloading the attachment to your computer. But I think it's important for people to remember that that delete key on your keyboard is actually your friend. And it's not a bad thing when you receive a message that you just need to read and you don't need to keep, to go ahead and delete it instead of clogging up your inbox or clogging up your retention folders by saving it. Additionally, when you go back and forth in a communication and a conversation with someone, all the previous portions of that conversation are saved in the most recent email. So you don't have to keep all those previous emails. So when you get a new email in the conversation, delete the previous email, and then that way that gets rid of some of that overwhelming electronic clutter. Additionally, I find that rules are a very helpful filter so that your inbox doesn't get overwhelming. And even bigger and more important than clogging up your inbox, you also can highlight important emails. So for example, if you have a client that you're working with on a huge project, you can set up a rule so that that person's communications to you automatically go to a folder for that person. You can have that folder up at the very top of your list of folders by overriding the alphabetical order. To do that, you just rename the folder with either an A at the beginning of it, or a number at the beginning of it, or some symbol at it, and that'll override the alphabetical order and put it towards the top. In addition, when that message from the important person comes across, it makes that folder bold and you get the number, so you know you need to attend to it. But then there's that overwhelming thing of all the e-newsletters that we get. So if you're overwhelmed by e-newsletters, not that you should always unsubscribe, but create a rule to send them to a to-read folder so you deal with them when you want to.
Right.
You read them when it's convenient for you, rather than when that person sending it to you wants you to read it immediately. On the alternative thought process, if you aren't reading an e-newsletter on a regular basis, empower yourself to unsubscribe from it. If you're not reading it, all it's doing is creating clutter in your inbox, stressing you out, and adding another something that you're looking at through the process. Last but not least, in regards to email, employ the subject line as a tool. That will help you as you're going back and forth with someone in the conversation to know that you're continuing on the same topic, but it also helps the person that you're sending it to so that they can act on that topic at that time when they get your message, rather than, oh no, it's another email of 10,000 things. They can focus on that one hot button that's important to you.
Right.
Secondly, as we look at spring and reinvention, rebirth, and growth, it's really important to think about our reference information. This day and age, we're faced with thousands and thousands of messages throughout the day, whether it be with blog posts, e-newsletters, print ads, radio ads, TV ads, magazines, everything. We've constantly got information being thrust at us. So from an electronic standpoint, used to be it was all paper and we had limitations on the space. With electronic, our limitations are not so constrained. It's very simple to get a terabyte of space to save data, and that's a lot of information.
Yeah.
So to be able to quickly reference the information that you are seeking, it's important to put it in easily searchable and easily retrievable areas. I find that Pinterest is a great place for grouping like items together on boards that I can either share with a client, share with a colleague, or quickly reference when I'm working on a project. I also find that if I find a sweet tweet that comes across Twitter, if I click the favorite, the little star down at the bottom of the tweet, I can actually find when I'm logged into Twitter, if I go to twitter.com/favorites, I can very easily access all of the tweets that I've marked as my favorites. So I can reference that information one place grouped like with like. There are lots of web clipper tools that will group like information together so that I can find my reference materials as needed. Some of those include Evernote, which is my absolute favorite tool. OneNote has just gotten a rebirth of its own and been reinvigorated, and so that's a great alternative. It doesn't do all that Evernote does quite yet, but it's moving in that direction. And I do have some clients that prefer clip.me as a web clipper option. So there are ways that you can cull, particularly when you're researching a particular topic, and put them together in an easy-to-reference area. Additionally, when you're doing research or grabbing information or overwhelmed by electronic information, electronic clutter, I find that Read It Later apps are a good tool to manage and to organize that from a productivity standpoint. There are plenty of options like Pocket, Instapaper, Readability, and even Evernote's Clearly functionality allows you to grab those articles, remove all the extraneous ads or random links that you don't need to get to the heart of the content you're looking for, and then you can combine like items together within those tools.
Right.
The third thing I wanted to talk to people about from a standpoint of spring productivity is spring cleaning your apps. I think just about all of us have some sort of mobile device that we're utilizing apps on. Apps can be a wonderful productivity tool, but because there are thousands of free apps out there, it's really easy to follow the bright, shiny objects and download every single app that everybody is talking about or the latest and greatest and hottest tool that's out there. So I recommend a process for people, and it's an ongoing process, but it's great to start this with spring cleaning. First and foremost, with my automotive background, I like to refer to it as get rid of the lemons and the clunkers. If you find that there are certain mobile apps on your device, whether it's your smartphone or your tablet, that you're just not using, then they're clutter. They're making it harder for you to find the apps that you need and get to the tools that will make you more efficient, more productive, more profitable, and get things done quicker. So get rid of those that you're not using. Then, with those that are remaining, group like with like into folders. It doesn't matter if you have an Android device, a BlackBerry, an iPhone, or even a Windows phone. You can group like with like together. That way, you may not know exactly where in that folder that app is located, but at least you can fine-tune your search into like items with like items. Then, once you've got like items grouped together, make sure you know what each of those apps do and that you're thoroughly utilizing what tools you have at your disposal. There are some amazing apps out there. So it's important to know that these apps are designed, typically productivity apps for that matter, are designed to make our lives easier and to make it so that we can get more done. So if we know what they can do to make our lives better, we can better utilize them.
Right.
Moving forward, though, there's two steps that are maintenance items for this. Number one is to be purposeful about what you add. So think strategically about, do I really want to download this app? How will I use this app? And feel free to download it. But then the second part of the maintenance feature is continually schedule time once a week, once a month, once a quarter, whatever works for you, to look at the apps on your phone and see what you're using and purge those that you're not using.
Right.
That way you have the tools you need, easily accessible, and ready to take you to the next level.
Well said right there. Easily accessible and the tools that you need. And, you know, if for everybody that's kind of listening over here, you know, there seems to be a running theme with every panelist, and that's plan. You know, take a minute and plan to do something. And actually, this is one homework assignment that I'm ahead of, because after Emily and I spoke initially, I realized that this was a great idea, and I had too much clutter between my phone and on my desktop, because I had all the apps over there, and I put everything into one little folder. And it's really made a big difference on my desktop. So instead of having 70 things, I now have 55 things. You know what I mean? So it's important, and the planning is good. And you know what? The apps take up space on your cell phone. You know, and some of the older models of phones aren't designed to have as many apps as people have on them. And you hear it all the time. People are always saying, oh, my phone's all clogged up. My phone's all clogged up. And then what I see happen, even with some of my good friends that I see all the time, their phone stays clogged up for like a month or two, you know, and like they can take like one picture, but then they have to delete other pictures, and they just can't use their phone, but they keep swimming in the molasses, so to speak, you know what I mean? So instead of sitting down for an hour and clearing out all your clutter, they decide to, you know, trek through the mud. So anyway, that was awesome. And what I wanted to ask you, I mean, I'd love to talk even more, but what's your favorite app for business, Emily? Aside from Evernote, is there something that you like truly love on the side?
Well, from an information standpoint, it's Evernote, but from a file sharing standpoint, I really like Dropbox.
Dropbox.
Square makes it easy for me to work on the go with clients making payments. So I think those we work together in synergy to make life a little easier.
Gotcha. And what's your favorite like fun app, like something off the wall and zany, even if it has to do with your automotive stuff, anything that you like?
Actually, with all the traveling I do, I really like Around Me, because I can find gas stations, banks, restaurants, whatever I'm needing when I'm out and about. Right. So I find that one very helpful.
All right, cool. Around Me, I'll have to check it out. And, you know, it's funny, you say, like, Around Me, and I'm like, at first I'm thinking, oh, like, cool touristy stuff, but, you know, a lot of times nobody even has time for that. So something that will give me gas stations, a good place to eat, you know, that's a perfect app. So good suggestion. All right, so what we're going to do is let me give first, thank you so much, Emily, a round of applause. And, of course, all of Emily's stuff will be underneath. She's got some really dynamite PDFs that I know for sure are up on the on our link. And, John, do you have that sticky note going on in the links with the speaker offers? Yeah, it's up there. Okay, he's putting it up there in a minute. So that was just great. And organizeforsuccess.biz is where you can find Emily. So a round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adam.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for being here today and spending so much time with us. John, what I'm going to do is this. I got to ask Stevie Wison, if you can still hear us, I need to ask you to jump off the panel so we can get John Rowley, who's coming up in a little while, up on the space, because you know what's incredible, and I'll say it again at the end. I mean, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We have 10 people online, and nobody is here mandatorily. Like it's not like when we put this together, we said everybody has to be on for the whole time. But that's why I'm so happy that we assembled this group together, because I mean these people are passionate. We're all sitting around hearing each other, learning from each other, and it's just great. So thank you everybody who's on the panel, and thanks to everybody who's watching. This is just great. So let's keep it moving, and what we're going to do next is I'm going to get my finger right on the applause. Now, Julie Coraccio, her and I have gone back and forth on Google Plus for like a while, and then she did this really cool video with Peter Walsh, and I made some really cool compliments on it, and then we started talking even more. Then we were just on Ping It, and then we got on Hangouts, and now I think we're in love, and I'm so happy she's remodeling her kitchen. It looks great. Her husband is a great guy. She's great. And it's just, and she introduced me to a few other people on the panel. So I got lots of love for Julie, and I want to give a big round of applause.
Thank
Julie,
you.
Come on down. You're the next contestant on Bring the Neat 2.
All right. Well, first of all, a huge shout out to you, Adam, for putting this together, because I know how much time it takes to create an event like this. And I also want to say, our bar has been raised, so I'm going to keep it raised. We've had an amazing panel, so I'm going to keep the energy and get going. First thing I want to say, if you're not about planet Earth or the polar bears, hopefully in my presentation today you'll see that being green is also about saving money, because it's equally important in business. And I want to let you know, Adam, you were a great example. When I first got your product, the first thing I noticed is you didn't waste any of packaging, and so that ends up making a huge difference. And even if you're like, you know what, I'm a New Yorker, I love the concrete jungle, I sneeze when I get near trees, it's okay, because you made a really smart business decision, and I'm betting you saved a lot of money by being really conserving your packaging. So the first thing I want to talk about are my 7 R's of eco-organization. The first one is reduce. If you don't buy it, you don't have to organize it. Sometimes we get stuck, and it's like the shiny, bright object. Oh, 10 for 10, I've got to buy it. Or here's a Groupon, I can get a sweater, but I need to buy 3. So the first thing I say is take a deep breath, and do you really need to buy it? Can you give an experience or something instead of buying one more object? I'm also a fan of reusing. Now I want to just add something really here that's important at the beginning. If you're going to learn one thing from today's presentation, invest in Pyrex. Get Bed Bath & Beyond always has a coupon, Macy's does, and get away from plastic. I don't recommend reusing plastic. But can you take the magazine to the dentist's office? Can you give it to the Girl Scout troop to reuse? If you've just moved, can someone else reuse your boxes to help in moving? So just again, thinking in a different mindset. Return. Now that's not really green, but I see this with a lot of clients. How many of you are holding on to stuff that's not yours? I had a client that had 3 armoires in his basement he was holding for a friend to refinish. I'm like, come on now. Or, you know, my father, I mean, it only took him 20 years, said to me a couple years ago, get all your crap outside of the house. You're in your own house. We don't want it anymore. So return is what isn't yours. We have reduce, reuse, return, repurpose. Now, at the end of my presentation, I'm going to do a little show and tell if you're good. But go out, buy a case of wine. I always like to say drink wine and get organized. Repurpose that box to hold your Christmas ornaments or your Hanukkah ornaments. It's great. It's color-coded. It's even storage, but that's really good. Are you, Adam, you have a look on your face. Are we good?
No, I was going back to the mute button because it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
We have that. Recycle. When you are letting go of your clutter, just become familiar with your recycling laws. And most professional organizers now have an awareness and are probably going to know what, have something on their site about information. But if you can recycle it, it doesn't take a lot of extra time. You know, we've all talked about prep and planning. Have your recycle box, your return box, you know, what you're going to throw away. But know your recycling laws. Repair. Okay, now this I know is a really challenging one. So many times today it seems like we buy something, it falls apart, and we just chuck it. What I'm going to encourage you to do, FreeCycle is a great resource. Now I'm married up in intelligence and I'm very lucky, and my husband's one of those guys that can repair anything. I, however, am not. You know, a couple years ago my weed whacker went out, and I was like, what am I going to do? And they said, oh, it needs this part and it's going to cost this much. And I was like, you know what? Going up on freecycle.com, there's someone smart out there who's going to be able to repair it and use it, and they did. And I'm like, I don't care if they make money from it. It didn't go into the landfill. It was able to be repaired and used. So that's something that's repurposed. So we have reduce, reuse, repair, repurpose, return, recycle. All right, the last one, rethink. This is something I'm really passionate about. A lot of times in our society, marketers have made us think that we really need all this. We confuse a want with a need. And really, we don't have a lot of needs. We have a lot of wants. So I encourage people, rethink your wants and needs. Ask yourself, if you're looking to buy something, does it represent who I am? Does it represent who I want to be? Do I need it, use it, love it? Just start questioning things. Now look, I love leopard print, and in my mind, you can never have too much leopard print. But it's one of those things where I call it my kryptonite. I have to take a step back and say, okay, maybe I have to pet the shoes, especially if they're nice and fuzzy, and say, okay, do I really need this? And then take a deep breath and let it go. So those are just 7 of my tips for ours and your eco-organizing. Now I'm really excited. Adam wanted me to talk about this. This is a way you can save money. Now Emily might need resuscitation here shortly because I'm going to be talking about ways that you can let go of clutter in your technology. The first is your landline. I just did some research. 30% of Americans don't use landline. But what's even more interesting is the 70% who do, 50% of that aren't using the landline. Now, we just re-wallpapered our kitchen. Adam knows about that. We set off the alarm, so if you're worried, fire department came, we tried to call them to stop. If you're worried about, because I have an alarm system. I've lived in LA for 10 years. I'm like, there's no way that I'm living anywhere without an alarm. So without a landline, our alarm system works. You can have VoIP or cell phones if you're in a condo or a co-op. They have no issues with working for people to be called up and let in. But your landline is something, because that's $40 to $50 a month. I let go of my landline 2 or 3 years ago. So that's something, again, I think this is where we really suffer from inertia. It's like people are like, oh, it takes effort to call the phone. But, I'm going to really encourage you to do that. Now, my husband, this is the one I'm really excited about because this is going to save you a ton of money. And Adam, you and I have talked on the phone, so you can verify that it's a good sound. I run a business. I have no landline. I no longer have a cell phone. So you're like, what's going on with that? And I know all of you who are watching and all of you are on this panel, you are immersed in social media. Can you imagine what a nightmare it would be to try to change your cell phone number on social media. So what I did is I ported my business number to Google Voice, and it has actually one of Adam's favorite features. When someone calls me, my name comes up, and it says that before they even get to me. So $20, ported my number to Google Voice. There is an app called Talkatone, which is free. You can download on your phone. You can do it free with ads or pay the whopping 99 cents a month to have ad-free on your phone. So I was nervous. I made my husband, I'm like, push the button, because if this messes up, I don't know what I'm going to do. So we ported it. I've had no problems. People can hear me. All it is porting to Google and adding Talkatone. Now, but we're only on Wi-Fi. So if you're like, you know what, Julie, that makes me too nervous, what we did is we just, because I said, I think one of us needs to have something. So we have a really small data plan through Verizon. So what that means, if I'm out and about and there's not a Wi-Fi spot, I turn on my little hotspot, and then I have cell service, and I can download emails. So I'm covered no matter where I am. But the reality is more and more cities and areas are adding Wi-Fi, and so that just is really increasing your chance. So I mean, I went from paying $80 a month, which is a pretty cheap plan, to only paying $30 for this. But again, if you don't need it and you don't use it a lot, you can get away with not having anything. Another area, so if you can get rid of the smartphone and move it to the iPad, that's a possibility.
Yeah, let me just jump in here 1 second
Yes.
before you change the subject there. So $80 a month, that was the cell phone, or was that with the cell phone and...
Oh, $80 a month was cell phone, and $40 to $50, I can't remember, was landline, because I let my landline go two or three years
so
ago.
we'll call it $40. So that's $120 a month that you were spending, which is what most people are spending, okay? So from there, now, what is your total bill monthly?
Well, just because I have a plan, 30 and then $1 for the app, so 31, but that can be eliminated too if you don't need it.
You really might want to consider that dollar. That's probably pushing you right over the edge.
I know.
Okay. So $31. So it's $89, but we're going to round up and just call it 90. So in my head, that's 90 times 10 months, because I can never do 90 times 12. So that's $900 plus 180. So that's nearly $1,100 a year that you're saving, and something tells me that $31 somehow is going to end up turning into like $20 as soon as the next thing comes and you're on top of it also. So what an amazing finding of money without really doing anything that you're not doing already. It's just like learning a new song, right?
Exactly, but wait, I'm going to save you even more money, so get out your pen.
It's better. Go.
Now again, all the credit goes to my husband, because this really happened because of him. Now, I don't want to say that I'm ahead of the curve, but we are ahead of the curve. The new Consumer Reports that came out, and I didn't read it because I thought it would mess up what I wanted to say, but their front page is how to cut your cable bill. Okay, we don't have a cable bill anymore, so I want to tell you how we did this, and that was $80 a month.
Oh, boy.
So what we did was we have... I'm sorry, Google Plus. My husband is an Apple man, so we have Apple TV, which is a one-time deal, but you can also get Google Plus TV if you're a Google person. So we can watch this replay. We can watch YouTube. Now we do have Netflix, which is I think a $10 a month plan, and so we don't have cable anymore. So that is our only cost, and we paid. I'm a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and I said we cannot live without football. So we were at Costco, and they had a little HD antenna that was on sale. It was the last one for $20, so we paid $20. So that's how we get local channels, so I can watch football.
Right.
But we don't have a cable bill. Now, we had a really interesting wedding present. We got Game of Thrones season 1 and season 2. So I was like, okay, I don't know what this is. Ended up loving it. Okay, so we paid. I had to buy season 3 on Amazon, and the price went down, so I paid $25. That's still, for season 3 of Game of Thrones, less than my $80 cable bill.
Sure, that's awesome. So by adding that other $80 that your cable bill was, so that brings it up to nearly $2,000 a year that you're saving. And sure, you had to get the Apple TV as a one-time payment, whatever it is, but you have it. You have the HD antenna, and to be honest with you, I mean, I'm in the New York area, so we use Optimum Online. It's great. I love them. They give us the local news, yada yada. I've never had a problem. I like them so much better than the other big company out here, which I would say their name, so I will, Verizon. So I love them much more. But the bottom line is that I recently just got the Google Plus Chrome, the Google Chromecast, and now I'm watching my online stuff, you know, some of the great hangouts, you know, that a lot of these panelists do. Like when I get home, instead of watching bad TV shows, I'm watching stuff that educates my mind that I can't find on all the, let's call it, crappy shows that are on regular TV. I mean, some of them are so ridiculous and so mindless. I mean, Game of Thrones, you know, it's good, it's people like it and everything, but there's a lot of stuff out there that isn't good. And some people may argue with us, but we're just nerds and we like stuff like that anyway. So, you know, the bottom line is that there's so many things you can do, and to find $2,000, I mean, that could be, you know, a down payment on a car in some senses, a small car, a used car, anything like that. It could be a little vacation getaway that you get for your family. But it almost,
to Italy, let's, you know, talk about the important things, another vacation.
Yeah, and I think really probably what it does is it probably gives you a little bit more time to spend with the people around you, because you're not so distracted. I mean, it's
quality of life. You're not sitting watching someone else's life or whatever. And I'm not bagging stuff. I mean, I have an online television show. I do Google Hangout series, but I'm educating people. So I believe it increases your quality of life.
And who better to educate than you, Julie?
Exactly.
I mean, seriously, if you were going to watch something on TV, you want to watch yourself, of course. I understand. Of course.
So
it's great.
More suggestions, and hopefully Emily hasn't died of a heart attack, because all of this focuses on technology. But camera, unless you're a professional photographer or unless that's your passion, and you know, I just have to say this: if it brings you joy, then it's not clutter. My whole goal is letting go of the stuff that doesn't bring your joy, doesn't raise your vibration, doesn't make you happy. But the cameras are HD now on smartphones, on iPads, and all of that. So you really don't need a camera. They're pretty high quality. Now this one is, again, I see this moving towards the future. Everything you need really now are on the smart tablets and the iPad. So if you're a graphic designer, you're going to need a computer. If you do a lot of stuff like this, especially on TV, you're going to need a computer. But I see a day of a majority of people being able to let go of computers and doing everything from their smartphone. So that's down the road, but that's just setting, because again, that can save you even more money.
Sure.
Now finally, if we have time, I have a little repurposing demonstration. We have time?
I would never cut you off, but you got a couple seconds.
Okay. One of my favorite things. I know we all have our reusable bags in the car.
Okay, gotcha.
But this is, I repurposed a tissue bag to keep plastic bags. These are great if you have pets and you're going to the dog park, you know, and you need to put their poopies in there, and if you're a pet owner, these are fantastic. So repurpose your tissue box. Or you can spend $10 or $15 at the Container Store. It's completely your choice. Now, I know we all have these hanging around, plastic bags that with this, a pillow came in this. So this is my emergency thing. I lived in LA for 10 years, and it's like, oh, the big one, you're going to die, be prepared. So, you know, I have a thing to get away from Rowley. I have a change of clothes, I have money, I have whatever I need in case of an emergency. But I'm a huge fan of like the shower curtains, the bedding. These are great to repurpose. They're clear, you can see through them, and write on them with a Sharpie. All right, and then one last thing. I'll do this. Now, we're remodeling the kitchen, and Tony added toe drawers, but this literally weighs 20 pounds. But this, I repurposed an old filing thing, and I want to say all states have surplus stores. Here in North Carolina, it's in Rowley. You can get anything the state has brought. Every state has one, but look to save money and go there for things like office supplies and other fun stuff. But this was great to hold all my cooking sheets and racks and everything. But again, you have the option, if you're like, I need to go to the Container Store, that's just groovy. But, you know, hopefully you've seen items that you have around the house and that you can repurpose. And again, just another way to save you money.
Look at you, saving money.
I'm all about it.
we got a new
sound effect.
All right, so we're saving money. We're saving the polar bears. We're recycling. We're repurposing. We're re-arring, because you had 7 of them, and that's awesome, Julie. It's great, and I had such a nice bond with Julie, because again, Julie's out there to not only save her lifestyle, but like, you know, save the world in a sense, and teach people that there are other options. And so often, I mean, even myself included, you know, I don't recycle every water bottle I throw away, and I feel bad about it because, like, I'm in a park and they don't have a recycle thing. And you see that all around, and you know, it's important to give back a little bit to the world that we come from. So I appreciate all the time you spent with us, Julia, and you've been on for so long. It's great. Giving you a big round of applause over here. All right. So anyway, dynamite. Okay, we're a few minutes behind, but that's okay. We'll make it up. We'll come back from the break just a couple minutes early. So we're coming up to the end of the second hour, and hopefully John will be back on when we get back from break. It's exactly 12:09, so we're going to take a quick. Oh, actually, good. This is where I left a little extra time. See, I planned ahead. I think I left a little extra time over here. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and what I'm going to do this time is I am going to share my product, the Rapid. It's actually behind me over my shoulder. I'll grab one after. But I have a little video that I made, and as long as we're all here together, I'm just going to throw it on if Google lets me capture it, which they do. And then we'll run the timer on, and we'll be back in about, it's 10:10, so we should be back on no later than by about 12:20. So it'll be about 10 minutes. Get a cup of, well, watch the commercial first, then get a cup of coffee, and then pee if you have to, okay? So we'll get this going right now. Here we go. So screen share. Give me just 2 seconds. And John, just give me a thumbs up if the volume is good, okay? It's not good. I forgot to disconnect my earbuds. Hold on a second. Let me just get that.
Gee, that could be it.
Yeah, that could be it. That's why you can't hear it. Okay. Okay, let's do this again.
Just a little.
Here we go.
Error, folks.
Beautiful, clean, and crisp every time. But it's nearly impossible when your wrapping papers are stored like this. But not anymore. Discover Wrap-It, the world's greatest gift wrap organizer. Hang it in your closet or slide it under your bed. Wrap-It is your ultimate gift wrap storage solution. Wrap-It holds an unbelievable amount of items in its amazing front pockets. Hold dozens of gift bags, greeting cards, tissue paper, scissors, tape, and bows. Stack items up, slip them in, and hang your Wrap-It in your closet or slide your Wrap-It under your bed. The real magic is on the inside. Wrap-It's patent-pending Wraplastic ring system allows you to easily remove and use your wrapping paper in seconds. And putting rolls away is just as simple. Just insert at the top, insert at the bottom, twist the roll over, and your wrapping paper is perfectly stored neat and clean every time. Also holds rulers, markers, glue sticks, coloring books, large gift bags, and so much more. Even jumbo gift bags fit with ease. Just zip it up, hang it up, or slide it under your bed. All your items are stored, organized, protected, and in one spot. Get control of your messy closet. Never run around your home again searching for missing items to wrap a gift. Reduce your stress. Make your life simpler. Order your Wrap-It now. Wrap-It, the world's greatest gift wrap organizer. www.wrapitgiftbag.com.
Okay, and I'll give you back to John. All right.
All right.
All right. You got the timer there, buddy?
I'm setting it up right now.
Okay.
So,
hope that worked for everybody. We never actually know until we know. So.
That's right. Hey, I was going to say to you, you may want to just drop John a note if you can.
Okay. I'm going to give him a call.
Last time he came in during break, so.
No problem. I'll give him a call on the cell phone right now as we're going. So I'll see everybody back in just a few minutes. Thanks so much.
Awesome. See everybody in a couple minutes.
Oh, John, just don't forget to blue box yourself with the mic, all right?
I did.
Thank you, buddy. All right, getting back. John, I see you're here. A couple of the gals, we're good to go. Okay, I just spoke to John, and I see he is just about here online. Awesome.
Okay, great.
All right, we'll give another minute, and we'll get going. And Julie, great job, by the way.
Oh,
And she
you.
just clicked off. Yeah,
No,
really
I'm asked John. I'll turn off the microphone again. No, I got a little nervous, so hopefully I was just like, oh, there's so much information, but
You did dynamite. It was awesome, and we're still live, so don't incriminate yourself too much.
Oh, I forgot. Right, I should know better.
I see Ann giggling in the background. That's awesome. All right. So anyway, so listen, I'd like to just take a moment and thank everybody again for being here. I mean, the panelists and the audience, and this has just been so much fun already. And like 2 hours and 20 minutes have flown by, and I hope everybody's ready for more because we're going to keep bringing the neat, baby. Bring the neat. Woo! All right. So let's see. John, are you there? Can you hear us, buddy?
Yeah, I can hear. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no,
John.
other John.
John is not here yet.
John is. Oh, you know what? I see you as a black screen. Okay.
It's just me.
All right. So, well, let's take
Wrong
a second. I just spoke to his son. I know he was signing on in. He's got the links.
That's all right.
So we'll give him a couple of seconds, and we'll just talk. And I guess I have already 4 pages of notes over here. I see other people scribbling away, so it's really good. And just again to mention the reoccurring thing. I mean, every speaker has talked about it. It all comes down to planning. And if you, well, I guess the old adage is if you don't plan, you plan to fail, right? So, all these little things, they're just little tricks that you can do to save yourself a little bit of time daily, and it starts to add up. And as we're just taking the break, I was thinking about the little tricks from Julie, and I was thinking about the little tricks from Melissa, and, I'm adding up the time in my head. And if I eliminate all my phone books and I do all the tips that everybody suggested, I should have $2,000 for a vacation and a week to actually go on vacation if I put it all together. So it's good stuff. All right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move right along if possible, because we'll wait for John to come in, and maybe if Geralin, if you're comfortable with this, maybe we can fill in for John right now. If John comes in, we'll get him in a little bit after, and if he doesn't, Geralin, I know, gosh, I mean, we spoke and we could go on for a long time, but if you want to take an extra couple of minutes, if he isn't able to get in, that would be wonderful. Okay, and of course you got to take yourself off mute, and I am going to put on the little sound effects. So it is a real pleasure and a real treat for me to introduce Geralin Thomas. We just got hooked up, thankfully, by Julie, and and I owe her all the credit. And it was dynamite to talk to her. You might recognize her. She's all over every TV channel at some point, at some time. And she's just a blast, and her videos are great. Her website is great. It's metrozing.com, right? Am I pronouncing Metrozing, right? Yeah. So I mean, she's an awesome person. She's chock full of energy, and her organizing advice is like expert level. But it's so simple that even somebody who's completely disorganized, she makes it and breaks it down so simply that anybody can follow any of her systems. So I'm going to give a nice big round of applause. Geralin, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Take it away.
Okay, so I feel a little like I'm happy to be piggybacking off of Julie, because I've got some R's, Julie. I've got renew, reduce, refresh. I've got some R's in my portfolio here too. So anyway, I'm going to be talking about closets and mostly how to kind of organize and refresh your closet. And the reason that I'm doing this is when you told me that you wanted to do like a spring organizing thing, I was all hyped up, because did you know, Adam, and everybody, that 48% of women's annual budgets are spent on spring in the springtime? So really? That alone, yeah, 48%. And don't ask me where I got that, because I found it online and then I couldn't re-find it. So I'm thinking, oh, I should have cited my source. But anyway, 98% of my statistics are made up. How's that?
Like Abraham Lincoln says, don't believe everything you read online sometimes, right?
Right. That's exactly what. I think he said that on Twitter, if I recall.
I think so.
Anyway, the first thing before you can go blowing your budget and buying more clothes or less clothes or whatever is, I'm a big believer in go ahead and edit the stuff you already own. Some people call it pruning, some people call it purging. There's whatever you want to call it. I'm calling it editing. And for me, when I'm working with clients, I try to encourage them to get rid of the stuff that no longer fits their lifestyle. That's the main thing. So sometimes, there's a new statistic. I'm going to spare you the stats now, but that more and more women are staying home. So maybe you were getting dressed up to go out into the world, and now you're staying home a lot more. So maybe your lifestyle in that sense has changed. Or maybe now you are out working and you have to have this corporate or business vibe, or whatever you're doing. Maybe you are now at a different point in life where you want to be more sporty, more outdoorsy. Maybe, like Julie said, you're putting down all those electronics and you're going to get out and actually enjoy the great outdoors. So maybe you need a wardrobe that reflects that. So I'm always trying to encourage people to think about how much of your wardrobe truly reflects your everyday life. Another thing I like to do with people is try to get them to name who they used to be and who they kind of identify with now. So I just did this recently with a client, and she just blows my mind. She's so funny. So she told me that she used to be more like Cher and Annie Lennox, right? And now that she has lost a bunch of weight and she is really wanting to flaunt her figure, she's in her late 60s, by the way. She said now she wants to dress like Sofia Vergara. So a lot of her old stuff is going to be, out the door.
Right.
So, another client told me that she used to be more corporate business, and now she identifies more with the way like Ellen is dressing. So kind of casual, comfortable pants, natural fibers, things like that. So anyway, edit your wardrobe. That's the place to start. The next thing is to kind of renew your style. Think about, projecting that image. Do you love the stuff that you're keeping and wearing? Is it comfortable? Is it flattering? Does it fit? And this is where we get into everybody, man, woman, child, should really stop and take their measurements and take them accurately, like with a soft tape measure. So many of us shop online. Again, huge statistics, but let's just say that tons of people are shopping online compared to the good old days. And that is one reason that I'm a really big believer in take your measurements, because if you don't have an accurate, size of what your waist is or your bust or your hips or your inseam, it's really difficult to shop online. And then, like Julie said, you do not want the UPS truck running up and down and planes flying overhead to pick up your packages, drones landing on your front porch, right? You want to be kind of eco-conscious when you're buying online, because it is saves you time and energy, but it does have its toll on resources.
Right.
The other thing that I think people should think about is their vertical proportions. So that would be the distance maybe between the bust and the waist, or the waist to the legs. And each of us are put together a little bit differently. And again, if you don't know what those measurements are, it pays to learn. That way you can use the proper terms, especially when you're shopping online for things, and say, I'm a short-waisted person, or I'm a long-waisted person. My trunk is twice as long as the average person's. And then try to familiarize yourself with what your horizontal proportions are. These are the things that either women cringe or they embrace. So sometimes you'll hear women refer to themselves as I'm an apple shape or a triangle shape or an hourglass shape. There are actual proportions and rules for which category you fit into, and that's an important thing to know. Then how about talking for a minute about coordinating your wardrobe?
Well, I was just going to say, you say women get like a little bashful when it comes to talking about things. So do men. I mean, I got to tell you, for a while, I was pretty heavy after my wife and we had 2 kids. They're gorgeous kids, by the way. But, I kind of ballooned up. And just recently, I finally got back down to my fighting weight. So I'm real happy about that. But I never really realized like where my body is. Now I'm 42 years old. But, it's like I never thought about it when I was younger, because I was just throwing on clothes, getting going, I buy a suit, this and that. Then when I ballooned up, I had to change all my clothes, and then I was still trying to wear them and get the most use out of them as I brought myself down. But eventually I did have to kind of get a new wardrobe, and it's a whole to-do when you get a wardrobe, so knowing your sizes is definitely key.
Was it a good to do or a bad to do?
Oh no, it's great to do, because now I'm in like jeans that I haven't worn since I'm like 24, and I'm happy about that. So I'm really excited.
Good for you. Well, congratulations. That's very cool. I have like a funny little anecdote, and I'll make it really quick. I go shopping for a bathing suit, and I bring like a posse of girlfriends with me, and we're all like sobbing. We have these little mini wine bottles that we're in the dressing room, like, oh my gosh, get me through this. And then you're complaining, I've got cellulite, I've got varicose veins, I've got flabby arms, okay, so the list goes on. I don't know who's eating lunch, so I'll spare you. And we agonize, like we're depressed when we leave the shopping center. I go with my husband and my sons to get them swimsuits. My husband tries on one bathing suit. He walks out. I mean, he's not a perfectly built guy, right?
Right.
He comes out, he says, it fits, I'll take it. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? How did that happen? Mm-hmm. Anyway.
That's how men roll.
Yeah. Confidence, I love it.
There you go.
Anyway, think about things when you're purchasing clothes instead of making these crazy purchases. You know, does it coordinate with something I already own? Is it mix and match? Is it a versatile garment? And I myself am a big believer in closet capsules. When I work with people, I try to get everything paired up. Here's the top you'll wear. Here's the 3 options of bottoms, 2 different things of skirts, jewelry, whatever. So that helps. Another thing is, a tip is to tailor your style to your body shape as well as your face shape. So as I've gotten older, necessity, and I'm always kind of amazed at the number of people who don't give any thought to like their face shape when they're picking out glasses or jewelry. So that's something to think about. And your body shape, you know, the briefcase you carry, the handbag, everything kind of factors in if you want to be as good as you can be. And if you don't care, it's okay. You're not going to offend me.
By the way, the glasses look spectacular on you.
Thank you. I went bright blue because I thought, you know, it was like my midlife crisis. I wasn't going to get a little red car. I got bright blue glasses.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you. Thanks. Another crisis that I hear quite often, this is kind of like my crises list that I'm going through with everybody, is the age appropriate thing. You know, what's age appropriate? What do I discard? What do I keep? And I'm not really a huge rules follower when it comes to this stuff. My theory is kind of like wear what you feel really confident in, what you feel pretty or handsome in, what fits well. You know, I don't think at, 55, even if you're rocking it, that you should be wearing a super short midriff shirt out in the evening, like trying to impress your boss or for a corporate dinner. So I think there's more rights and wrongs with stuff like that. I think, when you're a college-aged woman, you can get away with wearing head-to-toe leopard and rock it. I think, if you were my age doing that, people would think I'm Mrs. Roper from Three's Company. So back off the, the head-to-toe looks like you used to rock. And then the other tip is reflect the region where you're living. And I have funny stories about this. I can go to New York, Manhattan, and I will stand out like a sore thumb because I'm in North Carolina and we wear really bright, happy colors. If you'll notice, Emily was in purple, Julie's got a purple background, I'm in turquoise. And I think it's just like a Chicago, New York, big city thing where they tend to wear darker colors. And I'm not sure why that is, but
it's New York black. Everybody loves their black. It could be winter, it could be summer. Everybody in New York wears black. And I try to buck the trend. I'm wearing purple. So I'm happening. I thank you. I feel happy to wear. I feel like I'm part of the girls.
You're our favorite metrosexual.
I appreciate that very much. It takes a strong man to stand with a bow in his face for a profile picture.
Right. Right.
So,
yeah, and it's purple at that. I love it.
Yep.
Another tip is to reduce the maintenance. Spend less time taking care of the stuff you own, just like everybody else has said, from laundry to gardening tools to your apps on your phone. My thing is M.I.A., right? M.I.A.s, actually, and that does not stand for missing in action. Mine is mending, ironing, alterations, and spot cleaning. So if you have garments with a lot of those needs and you don't have any intention of doing mending or ironing or alterations, pitch the stuff and let it go. Donate it, consign it, invite somebody in your house and do a swap thing with them. But that's another way to kind of prune, edit, revise your closet. How are we on time? We got it at least another minute and a half, and I see John Rowley was able to get online. I see his daughter Jackie over there hanging out, smiling, wavy, holding John's spot. So I'm sure John will be. Oh, thank you, darling. I appreciate. Right back at you. She's so cute. Love her. Anyways, but we got another minute and a half. Go ahead and then we'll go. Why don't we wrap with this then? The 4 reasons women shop most often. Number 1 is function. So this is you buy functional garments, and just to put it real delicately, we'll go with shapewear. How's that? Anybody?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Yeah, no embarrassment factor. And then joy. Joy is another reason we shop. We want the wow factor if we're going to a wedding, or I know Julie is a recent bride. We're applying for a job. We're going to be on camera with Adam. You know, we want something to look good in. Utility is the third reason. You know, whether you ski or run or do yoga, you need several different garments for those activities. And then the fourth one is impact. And these are the items that we tend to buy when we want to kind of seal the deal. So maybe we have a great outfit, but we need the perfect shoe or the perfect scarf or the perfect whatever to go along with it. So those are some of the things to think about as you're weeding out your closet.
Sure. Awesome. And you know, it's so funny because I've never really thought about it before, but when you talk about wardrobe, it's really a collection. I mean, it's a collection of clothing, and if you don't even think, like, I've never really thought about that until like this conversation. And you know, people, some of them take pride in it, but other areas they treat it like other collections in their house where it's all disorganized, it's all disheveled, and it's all over the place. So it's another great tip, you know, save a few minutes, get your stuff organized, pick out the things that fit you, feel good about what you're wearing. There's nothing worse than leaving the house and looking yourself in some window as you're walking down the street and you go, oh boy, I can't believe I wore this out. So, all right. So the one thing I know not to do also is when I turn into my mid-50s is to wear a leopard mid-dress. So, all right, good to go. All right. Well, Geralin, thank you so much for being my friend and coming on here and supporting this group and just putting your information together. You're awesome, and I just look forward to learning and growing with you as time goes on. So thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And, of course, all of Geralin's information, metrozing.com is going to be down there. She's got a great PDF download, and she's got, you know, a special deal on her site if you check her out. So that'll be on the speaker offers pages, which John Paduchak has posted. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to give a round of applause to Geralin. Dynamite job. And we got over here now John. Rowley, you're going to have to take yourself off a mute, buddy, but it's your turn to be the next contestant on Bring the Neat.
I am here.
Hey, Jackie. Good morning, by the way.
Hi.
All right. Hey, John, do you have earphones handy? Little plugins?
You can't hear me?
I can hear you fine. There's just a slight echo, but if you don't have them handy, don't worry about it.
It's not a big deal.
Let me see if can I switch to this speaker? Is there a way to do that?
Oh, that's perfect.
That's
yeah,
even
right
better.
there.
That is perfect. Yeah.
Look at you.
Let me see if I can do that.
Go ahead. You play with that, and let me just talk about how awesome you are for a second.
Okay, take your time with that one.
Yeah, no problem. Jackie, John's daughter, is awesome. You see her bouncing around the back over there. We've had the experience of hanging out and working with each other. But John and I have been friends for, it's actually almost just about 1 year. It may be our 1 year anniversary of actually meeting. And John is intense. He is, I would say, not only one of the coolest people I know, but one of the most endearing, successful, sharing, caring individuals you'll ever meet in your life. He's an accomplished author. He's an accomplished of everything. I'm not going to get into crazy with him, but he's intense. And what you're going to hear from him right now should get you so pumped up for a spring lifestyle and living and feeling good about yourself. I'll just tell the quick story. We got on to do a quick 2-minute hangout the other day to record, and we ended up talking for an hour and 20 minutes before we recorded our 2-minute conversation. So you can imagine how much fun that conversation was. So let me just turn it over to you, and John, take it away, buddy.
Yeah, I love it when you do that. Well, I know we're talking about spring cleanup and getting ready for, you know, the summer. How is the volume on this? Is that pretty good?
It's perfect.
Okay, good. And I think a good part of that is making sure that you yourself are in good shape and healthy. It's a good time of year to be able to take advantage of that. And, you know, I just got interviewed by Ladies Home Journal, one of those magazines, and that was one of the things they were asking about. How do you get fit and healthy? How do you clean out your house and make it easy for yourself? And so it's on everybody's mind lately. So I think a good way to start is clean out your cupboards. You know, typically the wives are in charge of that. I know in my house my wife is. Put the healthy food where it's easy to get to, and then the stuff that's not so healthy in places where it's not so easy to get to. I think it'll be better for you and for your family as well. So, just along those lines. Am I set up right here on this? I can't even know if I'm
No, you're perfect, John.
Okay.
Don't you worry about anything.
Okay, so I think getting ready for spring cleaning, and everybody thinks about cleaning their house out, cleaning their office out, getting their clothes out, putting the winter clothes away, and bringing the summer clothes out. Well, if you want to look good in your summer clothes, it would be a good idea to spring clean the kitchen. Spring clean your refrigerator, your cupboards. Start bringing in healthy food and start eating right, and it's easy to do.
Right.
So
you got easy to do, and it's simple to do. Some people they come up with obstacles and they put themselves in front of their own efforts over there. But it's really not that complicated to eat healthy. It's don't eat the bad food.
Let me give you a 30-second way to eat healthy.
Go ahead.
You can skip every diet book with the exception of mine, of course. I've got one coming out. I suggest that you read that and you buy it and you tell your friends about it. But the bottom line is you can tell people how to eat healthy in a text message. Eat all the lean protein that you want. Eat all the green vegetables that you want. Drink all the water that you want. Get some healthy fats in from olive oil and from coconut oil, sources like that. Eat some almonds to get some healthy fats in. That's it. If you eat like that, you'll be about as lean and healthy as you want to be. Now, obviously, if you're into physique transformation or body composition, having a little more muscle versus a little less, then there's some tips and tricks that you can do along those lines. But it really doesn't get a whole more complicated than that. If you want to do body transformation, you want to build your muscles, have a half a yam after your workout. If you're lifting heavy, that's as simple as it gets. It's not a whole lot harder than that.
Right. And people complicate things with all kinds of crazy suggestions and then all different kinds of meal plans. But your approach is really just take it simple.
Well, when you're a D student, you take things simple. You try to figure out the easiest way to do things, And let's face it, the diet industry itself is a minimum, a $200 billion a year business.
Right.
So it's a cash cow. So it pays to confuse people.
Right.
So I look at business. When I went into Manhattan real estate, I looked at business. Okay, what's everybody else doing? I went the opposite direction, became very successful. I did the same thing in the gym business. In the fitness industry, I'm doing the same thing. My goal is really to simplify it. It's not really a strategy. I don't feel like reading all the science books. I've read them. But when I read a diet book or a fitness book and it sounds like a textbook that belongs in a college, personally, I'm reading the wrong thing. It's not telling me what I need to know. I think what most people want to see from somebody like myself or, well, you too. They don't want to know the science behind it. They don't want to know what you think. Who cares what you think? They want to know what to do, and more importantly, how do you do it? Because the bottom line is, I know most of the top authors out there, whether it be in fitness or self-help and in other genres. I know a lot of New York Times best-selling authors. A lot of them are personal friends of mine. Most of them do not do what they talk about in their book. So for me, it's more interesting to find out, actually, what do you do? Because if you do something, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work, but what they write about isn't typically what they do.
Right, right. And of course, when people want to go ahead and do when they plan on it and they think about it and they actually set themselves out to do some type of, call it a change in diet or a change in an exercise program, or not even a change in an exercise program, but to start an exercise program, what are some of the key things that you would tell someone to look for? Aside from just the simplifying of the diet, but like in an exercise program, which direction would you head in if you haven't exercised in like the past 10 years and you're like, enough is enough, I got to do something?
Well, I think everybody's into efficiency. Everybody's busy. Everybody in this call is busy. I know gathering this group of people together was hard for you because everybody's very busy. And I know you appreciate them being here, and we all appreciate you inviting us. But efficiency is key. Right. Stay off the treadmill. Most people go into the gym and do the treadmill because you press start and you walk, and it's the easiest thing to do. Learn how to do some resistance exercise. When you hear all these people, Dr. Oz, or everybody talks about your metabolism like it's some mystical thing. Well, your metabolism is your muscles. The more muscle you have, the quicker your metabolism is. The less muscle you have, the slower your metabolism is. Plain and simple. You don't need a doctorate. You don't need to be a doctor, and you certainly don't need to be Dr. Oz to figure it out. If you have a little bit of muscle, you're going to burn more calories at rest than you do if you don't have a little bit of muscle. So the key is build a little bit of muscle, get into the gym, do some resistance exercises, look for a program that makes sense. You don't need to have somebody screaming and yell at you for 90 minutes on TV to get in shape.
Right.
Sitting in front of a tube. You know, you can get into the gym 15, 20 minutes a day, 3 or 4 times a week, and get into phenomenal shape. In fact, I call it the perfect routine. I encourage people to get into the gym 3 times a week, whether it be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and just do a couple of body parts. Say on Monday, do chest, shoulders, and triceps. 2 or 3 exercises. Get out of the gym in 20 or 30 minutes at the most.
Right.
Do legs on Wednesday. Do shoulders and arms. Do back and biceps and abs on Friday. Real simple, real easy. You know, I'm not trying to sell a program here. Just that's it. It's simple. Get in. You don't know how to do the exercises? Go on YouTube. Somebody's going to show you how to do the exercises. If it doesn't look like they're doing it correct, they're probably not. So find somebody else who's doing it correctly. But there are a lot of programs out there. We have one called Old School New Body that's very successful. But the bottom line is, you don't really need to find a program. What you need to do is get into the gym, do some resistance exercise a few times a week, build some muscle, and that's really about it. And eat good.
Right. And, you know, a lot of the people that are on the line, I mean, the panel is mostly women over here, and I'm sure that a large portion of our audience is female as well. So, like, when you say chest, you know, I mean, we're not thinking like doing like, you know, 200 pounds on some bench press and everything. We're just talking about doing some, you know, little light exercises, right? And when you talk about resistance, you know, some people may not be familiar with that term. Could you, you know, just describe that a little bit, or even show us one quick exercise you could just do, like as you're standing there, just to keep yourself occupied and feel good about yourself?
Resistance is basically adding weight to the way your body would ordinarily move. So everybody talks about, you know, you mentioned the bench press. Your chest is actually a pulling muscle, not a pushing muscle, but yet everybody does the bench press to try to enhance their chest. Your chest is designed to bring your arms across your body. So when you're doing a bench press, the reason you use a bench press instead of a flight is because you lose a lot. You could use more weight. So what you do is you're concentrating on bringing your arms across your body while you're pushing that weight up. My wife and I, she's here somewhere. If she walks in, I'll let you see her. But my wife and I have been married 31 years. Kath, if you can hear me, come in here. I got 3,000 square foot of office space. I'm not sure if she can hear me. Here she is. No, get your mother. Get your mother. Well, okay. The mic is on.
I love live hangouts. It's perfect.
Yeah. My wife and I have been married for 31 years. We've been working out together for 31 years. In fact, after this, we're getting on my Harley and we're going to the gym.
Nice.
So what we do is we work out similar. Sometimes we work out together. Sometimes we just work out at the same time. But her big concern was when we first got married was, am I going to look like a football player? She didn't want to look. She didn't want to get big. She didn't want to look like a football player, and she doesn't. She's actually a couple pounds lighter than when we first got married, and she was in great shape when we got married. And she's had 4 children. We got 2 grandchildren. Lifting weights will not make you look like that unless you're genetically predisposed to that. Some women may have more testosterone than others. If that's the case, and you probably know it, then what you do is you just you play with the weights a little bit, maybe do a little bit higher reps. But 99.9% of the women out there are not going to be burdened with that. In fact, 99.9% of the men out there are not burdened with putting too much muscle on. That's why they go out and do illegal substances to do it.
Right.
Here's my wife right now. Let me have her. Oh, she's making sure her hair is appropriate. This is a quick hangout. Jump in here. Jump in here. Just give him a gunshot. 31 years of marriage, and she's a grandmother.
Look at that. You know what? I say double guns. Double guns. I'll get a picture.
You're right here.
Ready? Diesel. Look at that.
How many? They took a screenshot of you.
Of course we take a screenshot.
You're going to be all over the internet.
Yep, it's going front page, Daily News.
How many grandmas look like that? She's been lifting weights. There you go.
Beautiful.
Actually, this is probably better.
There you go. Thank you.
So anyway, that is a main concern. It's a main concern of my wife. I've got 2 daughters, same thing. I just got back from training my one daughter. The key is maintaining some muscle. Am I against cardiovascular exercise? Absolutely not. You know, I do it myself. This is what. Do you have time for me to tell you what my day looks like?
You got a minute and a half. Now, go right ahead.
I can do that. I don't do much in the day. I get up at 4:30. I read my Bible. I pray. I get on my stationary bike for 30 to 45 minutes just to wake me up. I don't even do it for cardiovascular exercise. I like doing it. I get to the office by 6:30, 7 o'clock. I work 10:30, 11 o'clock, unless I've got something scheduled like this. I'm in the gym for a half hour. Get back to work, grab a bite to eat, before I work out, I drink some amino acids, and then I work till 5 or 6 o'clock at night, theoretically, usually 10, 11, but that's it. I try to eat 5 or 6 meals a day. I eat protein and vegetables. I try to stay away from complex carbohydrates because they make me fat. That's it. I weigh 206 now. When you met me, I weighed 235.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't look overly fat there. I just look like a out of shape football player.
You always look gorgeous to me. Don't you worry, big guy.
I love it when you flirt with me.
It's the best. Right.
Any last questions in closing? I'm grateful for having this.
The bottom line is, I mean, you covered it. You're keeping it simple. It may not be easy for people to follow, 100% right off the bat, but you're keeping it simple. You're giving solid advice. You're not telling people to starve themselves. You're not telling people to stick crazy diet routines.
A lot.
Yeah, you're giving sensible routine, and that's really what it's about. But even more importantly, again, is I know you weren't on at the very beginning, but there seems to be a running theme with organizers and people that are happy doing what they do in their own situations, but it's about planning. And if you plan on doing a little bit of exercise and eating a little bit healthier, you're gonna end up being happier and feel better about yourself in not too long a period of time.
Let me make one point.
Please.
Everything that we do in life, whether it be organizing your house, and all the rest of the speakers can confirm this, I'm sure, whether it's organizing your house or organizing your fitness schedule, it's all a habit.
Right.
You get up out of the same side of the bed, you put your same shoes on, you eat the same way every day. 99.9% of the things that we do on a daily basis is pure and simple habit. If you want to get in shape, get rid of bad habits and develop good habits. Do it one at a time. You want to get your house clean, develop good habits instead of bad habits. You want to walk around with shoes that are shined, get in the habit of getting your shoes shined. You want to look neat and clean. The lady who was on before me, I'm sorry, I forgot the name. She had beautiful glasses, a nice shirt. That's a habit. She's used to making sure that she looks appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I wear black shirts. You know why? I travel a lot. It's always easy. I always make sure that everything matches.
Perfect.
Thank you for having me on.
John, it was my pleasure. Thanks for being here, buddy. I really appreciate it. And you're one of the busiest guys I know. So for you to make time like this for me and work with me on the prep and everything, it's really taken to heart. So thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I did it completely selfish, Adam. You're a big star on television now. I want to be aligned with you as you go on the Home Shopping Network.
Stop, you're making me book.
This is completely. I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate. I've been watching throughout the day.
Yeah,
it's been wonderful. Everybody's doing a great job.
Thank you. Hold on. I think John Paduchak has a question for you.
Yeah, before John runs, Julie actually had a question for him. I'm just going to have Julie unmute and ask. So go ahead, Julie. You want to unmute and ask John your question? Maybe not.
Okay. You can ask it for Julie.
I'll ask for it. Julie asked what I would say is really kind of a common question. She said,
Julie asked me.
There you go.
I need to drink. I know I need to drink more water, but my challenge is I want to drink something besides water. I'm not a tea person. I'm not a coffee person. I used to drink Diet Crack, which is my nickname for Diet Coke. And I got off that, and that was a really bad habit. But I need more options. Do you have any suggestions?
I hate drinking water, Julie. What I do is, and I do try to, but what I do is I put like a little bit of lemon juice in it. What's also good is, and I do this a lot, is I'll find, Crystal Light. I'll find Crystal Light that's made with stevia, which is a natural sweetener versus the dextrose and stuff that's in Crystal Light, and I'll put it in there. I don't typically have it at a full serving. I might have a half a gallon of water, and then the little packets that you're supposed to put into a pint. I'll put that into that. So it makes it more enjoyable. Does that help, or are you looking for something that's like really tasty?
Yeah, no. I mean, and some people on the chat gave me good ideas for juicing and adding lemon and ginger, and because I'm recently married and we both gained weight and we exercise, we just like to eat. He's Italian, so I've eaten more pasta in the past 18 months than in my life. So, looking for some options.
I do want to make one comment on juicing, and I don't want to contradict anybody because I didn't hear what anybody said. But I'm not a huge fan of juicing simply because the fat burner. If you're trying to lose fat. If you're a marathon runner or whatever else, it's great. Jack LaLanne always juice. But if you've got a weight problem, juicing isn't always the best unless you're doing mainly vegetables, simply because you're drinking a lot of sugar. And the fiber that's in the fruit itself is actually what will help your body burn fat. So I would say just if weight is an issue, and it doesn't look like it's an issue for you, but if somebody's listening and weight is an issue, just be a little cautious with the fiber aspect there. maybe take the fiber from the other end of the juicer and eat it or do something with it, because the fiber is so important.
Nice. Good tip. All right. Awesome. Well, John, thanks again, buddy. Let me give you a little, well, not a little, but a really big round of applause.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
no
you.
No problem. All right. So this is great. We're sticking just right about on time. And actually, you know, I'm saying we're sticking right on time. We're actually coming to the end. I can't believe it's almost 1 o'clock already. I mean, this is one of the fastest 3 hours of my life. So it's great. So you know, we're gonna got one more speaker who is absolutely outstanding. I'm just about to introduce her. But on top of that, we'll just do a couple of comments at the end. You know, some final thoughts. But we're basically coming up to the end of Bring the Neat 2, and I'll kick over to my sidekick, John. I can't believe it's almost over. So. There you go. All right. That's all the commentary we needed from John. That's perfect. So let's get right on into one of the world's greatest people, Jennifer Ford Berry, professional, awesome person. You just got to take yourself off mute there, Jennifer, and we are good to go.
Hi, everybody. I think this was unbelievably even better than the last one. I didn't think that was possible, but I learned so much today. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. Thank you, Adam, for having me. And I just want to start out by saying I couldn't agree with John more when he said about women doing more weights than cardio. I started doing that this year for my life, and what a difference. You know, you just see the results a lot quicker. So awesome advice, John. Thank you so much, and thank you to everybody else. I'm going to talk about 3 topics today. And I don't know which one I'm more excited about because I love them all, and they're all mentioned in a book I just released called Organize Now, Think and Live Clutter-Free. And it's really, you know, a passion about talking about the inner clutter. We always want to talk about the outer clutter, but I think, you know, we're going to end this on an inner clutter note. The first thing to talk about is how to organize a nurturing and inspiring home. And after 13 years of being a professional organizer, I think one of the saddest things I see is, you know, driving up to a home that on the outside is just, you feel like those people are living the dream and couldn't ask for anything more in life. And when I walk in the front door and meet the owners, they're actually really unhappy. And to me, that is truly sad. I think all of us, when we come...
Uh-oh. Lost Jennifer for a second. And there you go.
Can you hear me?
Got you back.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, I just mentioned how I think it's really sad if you come home at the end of the day and you don't feel good about walking in the door of your own home. Our homes are the one place in the entire universe that is just for us and our family. So I think it's really important to walk in the door and just be
I agree. And I lost you for a second.
And just...
Okay. You're back. You're back. You just keep on rolling through like there's no skipping of the beats.
Okay. This spring, take some time, number 1, and just go room by room in your home. And maybe spend 5 minutes and take a look around and ask yourself, what do I love about this room and what do I hate about this room? And write it down. And just go room by room. At the end of that, make a list of the things that you maybe can do that don't even cost that much money to emphasize what you love in that space. And that can even be what I think it was Julie was talking about earlier about green organizing. Just kind of going around and maybe even rearranging things and taking something from one room, deciding, oh, I'm going to play up that color in a different room, using what you already have rather than bringing more stuff into your house. The second thing is to make a list of all of those home improvement projects that are just eating at you. You know, maybe you need to caulk the bathroom, or maybe you want to paint the kitchen a different color. Any little thing that's kind of nagging at you, if you're letting it nag you, it's actually taking energy away from you. So write it down, make a master list, and then pull out your planner and schedule time to get these projects done. If you don't take the time to schedule it and write it down, chances are it's not going to happen. And if it's a big project, we want to make it into bite-sized pieces that we can handle maybe, you know, a couple hours in the evening during the week, or maybe you can allow yourself an entire Saturday whatever works for you. There's no right or wrong reason. The point is to just make sure that you have it written down and you come up with a plan. So that's number 2. And then to really just make your home your own. Don't set your house up the way you think it should be set up. Don't make it look like a cover of a magazine or what your next door neighbor is doing. Really make it be a reflection.
And she'll be back in a second. Here we go. John's nodding.
What do the Levines love to do? What's important to them? What are their main priorities in life? What kind of people are they? That's the best thing you can do, is to make your home your own. So, for the one example I like to use is that if you have a dining room in your house, for example, when you buy it or you build it, and it's just you're not that type of person that's going to have a formal dinner every week, you know what? For this point of your life, maybe if you have small children, turn it into a playroom or craft area. Maybe it should be your office so you're close to where your kids are hanging out. But make it your own. Don't worry about trying to set up the perfect home. There's no perfect way. It's more about being comfortable where you are and feeling peace and joy in that space.
Right.
So those are the big things about nurturing and inspiring homes. The next thing I'm going to talk about is organizing a plan to follow your passion. And we talked about a lot today about rebirth and spring, and it's kind of almost like a new, fresh start in the calendar year to make some major changes. And I think we can all agree, everybody on the panel today, I know especially, we've talked about this, Adam, is how it feels to wake up every day and be able to work your passion. It is a huge change in how you feel on a daily basis. Right. And I can tell you just briefly in my own life that the difference between when I used to work for, a corporation that I just didn't really care about. I mean, it was a great job. I made good money. Every day I didn't wake up excited. And one day I just started to really ask myself, what am I passionate about? And the answer that kept coming to me was organizing. But at the time, I tried to talk myself out of it because 13 years ago, I didn't know anybody making money being a professional organizer. It wasn't as big of an industry as it is now. So I kind of tried to push it aside and think of something else I was passionate about. But really, that was the one thing that when I was honest with myself, I had loved doing since the time I was a little girl. And, I mean, what 5-year-old goes into somebody's house and asks them if they can organize, a drawer or a cupboard? Not to do that. But that was me. And when I really was honest with myself, I could realize that this is something that has been something I truly love since the time I was a child. So if you're, watching this today or thinking about maybe making a career change, I really encourage you to, first of all, take a step away from the clutter and the busy schedules and all of your responsibilities and just spend some time reflecting and pondering and ask yourself, what is it that makes me truly happy? When was the last time I was doing something where I felt pure joy? Maybe even ask yourself, what are my friends and families always asking me to do for them? Maybe you're really good at art. Maybe you're really good at design. Maybe you're really good at gardening. There's no answer that is wrong. The point is that when you think about doing that task, do you get excited? Do you feel super happy? And that might be something that tells you that this is your passion. I know for me, nothing makes me happier than organizing. For some people watching me think we're all insane that we love to organize. But that's what makes us all different and unique. So really, I encourage you to ponder and to reflect. The other thing is to think about, once you nail down your passion, think about the people that you can talk to that are doing that already. For me, one of the biggest things is, I was lucky enough to always, or not to always, but I started being able to talk one-on-one with Peter Walsh. To me, he was a huge mentor for me and somebody that I wanted to emulate. So I got to know him and ask him questions, and now we have a great relationship where I can ask him questions all the time. I mean, I wrote my first book. I didn't know any authors. So, and I surely didn't know anybody that wrote a book about organizing. So it made a big difference in my life to reach out to somebody that was already doing what I wanted to do. And most of the times when you ask people in those positions to help you, they're more than willing because, you know what, they're excited, they're happy. I mean, they're living their dream, they're living their passion. Why wouldn't they want to share that with somebody else? It makes a huge difference. So really just make sure that you're reaching out to people that could be a mentor. And the most important thing is to, A, talk about your passion. Get out there and talk about it. Mention to people that you are around what you do and why you love it. And if you're excited, they'll be excited when they're listening to you. And most importantly, surround yourself with people that are going to support you. Because a lot of times when we decide we're going to make a big change in our life or we're going to switch careers, and especially if you're thinking outside the box, people might not be a huge cheerleader for you at first, and that's okay. Make sure that you're so excited about your passion that you're willing to do it no matter if everybody you're around thinks it's a bad idea. Who cares? Right. It's not about their life. It's about yours. Right. And the biggest thing is to surround yourself with people that are going to support you no matter what they think. They just want to see you happy and successful, and start to really eliminate those people that are, what I like to call energy drainers. They're just always going to bring you down, because when you're really on the path to success or to live your dreams, people like that are going to be a waste of time and energy for you. Mm-hmm. It's really, really important to have the ones behind you that are supporting you the whole entire way.
Sure.
I know you know all about this, right, Adam?
Well, as you're saying that, it's actually, yesterday I had the opportunity to be in a mastermind group, and I'm not sure where my feedback is coming from. Is that me? No. Okay. So yesterday I was in a mastermind group, and Jennifer, actually that might be coming off of yours. Could you just lower your volume there for a second?
Do you want me to plug in my earpiece?
Oh, sure.
I can't hear any feedback on my end.
I hear it, Doug. I think it's coming out through your speakers. So, okay, so all good. But anyway, I was in a mastermind group yesterday, and I got to hang out. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. Still feedback, but we'll let it roll. So I was in a feedback group a mastermind group yesterday, and I was with 10 different entrepreneurs, people that are at different levels of their business. And being in that room for the 9 hours I was there was so different than being anywhere else that I've been in the past 2 months with 9 people in the room at the same time. So I can totally appreciate that and understand it. And the other thing that's really important for me is being comfortable in your own house. And we did exactly what you said with the dining room. We don't have a formal dining room anymore. It's the kids' playroom, because it's right off the kitchen. It's right next to the living room where the TV is and everything. So we set it up. They got their doll houses, their cars, motorcycle toys, dragon toys, little forts, everything in there. So it's dynamite what you talk about, and it's all true. And you've frozen for a second, so I hope you caught that last sentence there. All right, so let's see, Jennifer. There you go. You're back. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So like everybody else here on the panel, Jennifer's information will be down underneath in the description below the videos. PDFs, handouts, we'll have everything on the separate page. So I just got to give a big thanks to Jennifer for participating today. I love you to death. I call her JFB, so do a lot of people that are close to her, so I'm happy to be able to call her JFB. And thank you for not only participating, but being involved in the first Bring the Need, sharing the love, talking about it, having a passion for it, and spending all your time here today. I thank you so much. So I'm going to give a little round of applause. I know she's nodding in her frozen background there. All right. We'll let Jennifer's video catch up with her for a second. And John, maybe if you could just mute Jennifer so that feedback will cut off. And then what we'll do is we got a couple people that are still kind of here. So let's just do a little round of feedback. So if Julie and Melissa, if you guys want to pop on with some camera for a second, we'll open it up. And Ann, why don't you start? Because you're all the way on the left side of my screen, and you went first. You kicked it off with some awesome energy. Thank you so much, Ann.
You're welcome.
For rocking this today.
I've let my dogs in the studio, so in the studio portion of my office. So sorry about that.
I'll do another song. Who let the dogs out?
This was an amazing day. I think one of the things that I love the most is that being in business and having a team, I'm really excited about everything that everybody's shared, having the team that I work with virtually sit down, take this event, and really dissect it and pull out those bullet points, because I think what you've done here is you've assembled this amazing group where each piece is nice on its own, but it's the combination. I must be Italian in my former life because I always use my hands. It's the combination of the talent base, everybody from the physical with John, I mean, just all of it, to Julie's stuff, to, I mean, I can't remember everybody's names right now. It's fantastic, Adam. And just in closing from my end, you know, as we think, so we do. But in order for us to get from the thinking to the doing, we have to be able to take simple, concrete steps. And so I don't care how small that step is that you take for this spring, take something. Do something. Take one picture down from 20 years ago and replace it with the picture from last week. You know, just do something so that what you're thinking becomes a concrete action.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and I'm glad that you said that about pulling it together, because, you know, as far as I know, there's nothing else like this, and you know, a lot of it we owe to Google and YouTube, because they put the technology together for us to do this. But there's no show on. Listen, Oprah doesn't do this, Martha Stewart doesn't do this, and you know, it's because it's a different kind of media. But getting the people together, I mean, it amplifies the power, it amplifies the knowledge, and you know what? I think everybody here is going to have long-lasting relationships. So I thank you for being one of the star players in my life right now, and I thank you so much, and great closing remarks, and you just did a dynamite job. So thank you, Ann,
Adam,
for being here. Emily, let's just go right on down the line. Take yourself off mute and give us some love.
I have to echo what Ann said about what a great mix of individuals that you've put together here. So thank you very much for giving us this opportunity as the panel, Adam, but also anyone that's watching this video, because I think it's very meaningful how everybody's come together and brought complementary things to the discussion today. And my kind of wrap up for everybody is, every day, no matter what level our interaction with technology is, we're all interacting with technology. So if anybody can implement 1, 2, 3 of the things that we talked about, I think the lack of electronic clutter will make people phenomenally more productive. And here's to the most productive spring that everybody's had.
Thank you, Emily. Awesome to have you. Great hanging out with you, and I know we got plans together for the future, so this is just great to have you here. I thank you so much. Let's get on back to Jennifer. You got to unmute yourself, and hopefully we don't get too much feedback. And just so happy you were part of this today, JFB.
Thanks, Adam. I just want to end by telling everybody.
Bingo. Talk about perfect timing. It cut out right where she was going to say the most important thing.
For you.
Oh,
just
hold on.
Take it one step at a time. And really, I want to say that organizing is not about being perfect or having a perfect home or perfect life. It's about a lifestyle that is going to ultimately shift your focus away from things and toward, you know, focus more on living your best life and really making the most of each and every day. So all of these things we talked about today are really, truly important to implement, but you can't do it all. You can't, you know, end the tape and start this weekend and do it all at once. You have to do it in little tiny, you know, make little tiny goals for yourself. And one step at a time, it'll be a snowball effect. You'll start feeling better about yourself, and you'll realize that you can put these things into practice.
There you go. Perfect. Well said. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate it. We're going to skip over John for a second because he's like producer, so we'll wait for him for the end. But Julie, throw in any last comments, any words that you have, any suggestions for improving the Bring the Neat? Feel free.
No, you're groovy, just the way you are. I just want to remind everyone it's a process, so celebrate where you are. And remember to be your own best friend and not your own worst enemy, because you'll get there. So just celebrate where you are and just keep moving forward, and as long as you do that, you're going to be okay.
There you go. Notice the running thing. Keep moving forward, take little steps, do some planning. It's spring. Nothing happens overnight. Flowers don't grow overnight. Trees don't bloom overnight. It takes time. So very nice, very nice. Melissa? Hi.
Hey, Adam.
Lost your sound for a second, sorry.
Yeah, it was truly amazing to get to know this entire panel. I've already connected with everyone on Google Plus. Adam, I know how hard you worked to put this together, so thank you very much. I guess my parting thoughts is being organized could be very overwhelming for a lot of people, and I think everyone already said what I would have said, which is, you know, baby steps, make a list. Think about what project you want to focus on. Stay organized with boxes for all your receipts. I mean, some really great tips everyone had today. I know I learned a ton, so thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure to have you, Melissa. Thank you so much for coming on down and spending time with us. It's really great, and I know your sister Stephanie was a big part of you know, putting our whole relationship together, and she's dynamite. I can't wait to have her online one day too. So thank you both, and it was rocking. So before I jump to John, I just want to, you know, I want to take a second and well, actually, you know what? Jump to John. John, you go first.
What can I say? Always a pleasure to do this. You know, it was definitely a great thing to listen to. I mean, I was furiously taking notes over here. So I picked up a lot of stuff, too, just sitting in. So
yeah,
great to meet everyone.
This is my note panel over here. I got about 6 pages going on. So
nice.
You know, you never know everything, and it takes a team to do anything these days. And to have a panel like this, it was great. So I just wanted to say, you know, one more time, I appreciate everybody coming out here, you know, being not only part of the panel, but the people that participated by being in the audience and making some comments. We thank you very much. The whole reason why this came about is because I did start my own company having to do in the organizing field. So I'm not even going to go crazy and pull it up. I'll go crazy for 1 second. Let me just grab a... I'm going to do this one-eared. This is my gift wrap storage organizer. It's not the easiest thing to show on a little Google Hangout cam, but what it does is it holds all your gift wrap. It's clear. It holds more than any other gift wrap storage unit on the planet. I happen to think it's pretty awesome. I know a lot of my friends think it's pretty awesome, and pretty much everybody on the panel here has seen it. So thanks for all the kind words, and it's available, so you can buy one. So if you go to our website for Bring the Neat, we're also giving away a special offer. I think we got it about 25% off the cost of a Rapid. So there'll be links that are tied in, and that's pretty much about it. So thank you to everybody for participating, being here today. It's truly been a pleasure to have all of you on. I've learned a lot from you, and I guess what we'll do is we'll give a last round of applause to everybody, and we will make one laughy face because we had a good time. And now we will end the show with a gong. And thank you for participating in Bring the Neat 2 Springtime Organizing Event. Everybody's information will be in the description below, and any special PDFs and downloadable files, we'll have the link there too. So thanks so much for joining, and with a gong, we say thank you. All right, be well, everybody. Happy spring, happy organizing. Do something a little bit every day. Okay, thanks.